It's not recording, is it?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to do our pre-show ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Tony.
I love you too.
Not in the same way.
What kind of love are we talking?
Welcome to another edition of Sweet Nothings Podcast with your hosts, Tony and Freddie.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for yet another episode of Sweet Nothings Podcast. For all of you that did tune into last week's episode, that was our friend-isode because Shirtful Freddie was missing in action. But everybody, he is back.
I'm
this
back.
week. All right.
I'm better than ever.
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
It has been a long time.
Uh-huh.
A lot has happened in my life.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks feels like forever.
I know. I missed it. I'm happy to be here now.
Tell me about what's been going on.
Oh, I did all sorts of cool stuff, Tony.
Yeah?
Yeah. I did mostly just normal stuff that I would normally do, but more of it, so I couldn't fit this in. It's a fairly uneventful life.
We're adults now, so we actually have adult things that we have to do.
I'm not happy about it.
No,
it's not working out.
Work sucks.
I'm a terrible adult.
Yeah.
You would think like if at least I can show up to this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
We're trying to make this like at least once a week, but
I know.
Work's just getting in the way. Fuck that, dude.
And this is the time.
Shirts are for work.
This is the time where I show up and I get to talk to you about what we did that week. You confess to me all the terrible things you did when you were drunk. And it works out great for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I guess
I do want to say this. Those fellas that sat in for me, that was incredibly entertaining. And that was the first podcast of ours that I've listened to. Just because I can't stand to hear my own voice.
I know, it is weird.
It's awful listening to yourself. I've always been like that. But
so have
I really enjoyed you having those dudes in.
Good. Yeah,
Kev and Bod.
Right, yeah.
Or Eric, right?
Well, we call him Ricky.
Ricky.
His birth name is Eric, but no one calls him that unless it's
okay.
Actually, I think he introduces himself to new people as Eric.
Yeah.
But all of us growing up with them, we either call him Ricky or Bod.
Yeah. They did a hell of a job. It was incredibly entertaining.
All right, good.
And I do have some things I would like to bring up from that episode, though.
Okay, go ahead. Let's start the episode off with that. Let's talk about last week's friend-isode. Freddie's missing.
And, okay, about that episode, number one.
Mm-hmm.
When that dude said that he fell asleep and his titty fell out.
Dude, I know.
I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, it's Rev Cab because I never even thought of that until he brought that up, and I just was fucking hilarious to me.
It's just funny thinking like you're asleep and you wake up and you got a titty hanging out of a tank top.
Well, have you ever woken up next to a girl that fell asleep in a wife beater or whatever, and then you're just switching positions, and then you look over and there's one tit hanging out?
If I did, I didn't make a mental note of it.
Okay.
But the fact that it happened to Rev Kev and he told everybody about it. He was like, "Yeah, I fell asleep. Was wearing a wife beater. My titties hanging out." Yeah. It was it really made me laugh.
I know, dude. When he mentioned that to me, I thought that was fucking hilarious.
That got me. And then the other, what was the other thing? Oh, Rev Kev defiling this mic.
Oh, yeah.
I have a couple things to say about that.
Go on.
It doesn't bother me one bit. But only
you
because...
You might be dirtier than I am, dude. Go on.
You said handsome wrong, Tony.
But no one knows that you're handsome, Freddie, except for me. They only know you as Shirtful Freddie.
Yeah, that's true.
Go on.
This what is this? Filter, this pop filter. What is this?
You mean talking about the foam head?
Foam, the foam that goes on it. When you see the weatherman outside in the middle of a hurricane, that's what's on the end of this microphone. And it smells so bad. It has smelled so bad since we've started doing this. And I haven't said anything about it. I just whenever I get that whiff, I back up a little bit.
Well,
He put his mouth on
Oh,
this.
he licked it. I wish I had it on tape. Like his literally, and you can kind of hear it, but his tongue was actually out, and he was like licking the microphone.
I'm sure he was. It sounded like it was. It sounded worse. In my head, I imagined worse was taking place. And then Rev Kev, I'm fine with it. You can't gross out for handsome Freddie, not dirty Freddie. Let's not get that started. Two, this thing, it like, have you used this to record in the past? So was there some dirty punk rock dudes just yelling into this?
Actually, I have not used that mic previously to starting our podcast. That mic was actually given to me. Actually, and this one also, and a handful of the stuff that's in this room. So a lady that I work with, her daughter, I grew up with. They were like her neighbors, and we've known each other since third grade. We grew up together as like best friends and shit. And she was dating this dude, which apparently was some like scrubby wigger, and they were engaged and living together and all that. And I don't remember what the details were, but she ended up calling it quits and kicking him out of the house.
Yeah.
Well, he described a few things and was on his way. And so he left all this shit behind. Wow. So she's like, hey, she's like, I know you do music and stuff. She's like, do you want this recording equipment? And I was like, well, fuck yeah. And so like, there was like an acoustic guitar that was up here. Both of these mics, these stands, like that there, and like a handful of like programs.
That's so
and shit.
funny.
This is all his.
When we were talking about, when you and I were first talking about starting a podcast, I went looking for my microphones, and I remembered I gave them when I was living in Lakewood. I worked at that pizza pan, and
I forgot you worked there. You used to bring me pizza home all the time.
I know, right? I worked at that pizza pan, and there was this dude that worked there, and he was like a 16-year-old dropout, and a little white boy, like short, full braids. Like he was a real deal, though. I liked him a lot. He was a
like
good dude.
Malibu's Most Wanted kind of kid.
But like hip. He was laid back,
and
for 16, like 16-year-old kids are obnoxious.
Yeah.
He was really cool, and he was a white rapper, and like, and I'm not just giving him the benefit of the doubt. He was really like pretty cool, but it was very uncomfortable going to work and listening to him be like, check out these new raps I wrote.
Is he throwing the N-word around too?
I don't remember if he did or didn't, but I do remember like it was uncomfortable. It's just me and him in the pizza shop, like in the hum of the pizza ovens, and him like just busting raps, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like sometimes I would try to be the hype man for him, like, but it would just go on forever. So I took some of my band gear from when I would play in a band, and I had a bunch of condenser mics, like recording mics, I had, like a whole little case full of stuff, and I gave them to him to borrow. And then I just kept like he offered to give them back to me, and I fucked up. I'm the one that dropped the ball on this.
Oh shit! So then you never actually be like, okay, yeah, I'll get them back from you. So he just got that free shit, huh?
And how many musicians do you know that got stuff like stolen from them over the years or at this gig?
Lots.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
This I just gave
Music
it away.
Equipment is fucking expensive, dude.
It's expensive, and it could break you. Like it could just ruin your band. You know,
it
could be a fight forever about who's paying what and how we're gonna piece it back together.
I had a band where our guitar player was stealing shit. Like he stole the head of my amp. He was stealing guitar pedals.
Who you're talking about?
And this is when I was in Dead Yellow Elvis, and he was and he would steal our shit, take it to Guitar Center, selling it, and then getting money to buy fucking heroin.
Well, Tony, like in his defense, heroin's not cheap.
Yeah, and I get how bad he wanted to be like Motley Crue. I get it.
He wanted heroin more than you wanted a guitar. But no, like, or if it's not your own band, it's usually the drum. It's always the drummer.
That to you. I know. Fuck off. I was a drummer. He was the fucking guitar player.
Dude, he was
the lead.
You know my buddy. You've met Mark the Hater.
Mark the Hater. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time, but
he's
I remember
a drummer. I love him, but I wouldn't trust him with anything. You go watch your wallet around drummers.
It's not our fault. It's the people's fault. No one ever takes pictures of the drummer.
That's true.
You know?
I feel bad about that.
Everyone, you get pictures of the singer and the guitar player. Sometimes the bass player is up front. No one ever gets pictures of the drummer.
Yeah.
You know, no one wants to hang out with us.
Yeah, but you're gonna act like you're the only one in the band that enjoys drugs. The other thing is, so that's like a huge one. Like, even on Facebook now, it's like we just got ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's a problem all the time, and I just gave equipment away and just like forgot to pick it up or never bothered to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the shit just happens. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for the person that lost
Well,
it.
it worked out great in your case because now we get to have a podcast without a minimum investment.
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name, but it's a big shout out to you, little fella.
Yeah.
I hope I think cocaine and ex-girlfriend is worth it. I mean, it was worth it for me, for you, to do it.
It worked out for you.
Yeah.
It's working out for somebody.
Yeah.
Getting back to those guys.
Okay.
That was the first podcast I listened to.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. And like it almost like tore into me like maybe Tony should be doing this with somebody else so I have something to listen to every
fuck
week.
off.
But it was fun. I hope that we upgrade equipment and get them back in here and do it again.
Right.
All four of us.
Oh, and they definitely both loved it. And it's funny too because you can tell that neither one of them knew what was going on. It was essentially like how you and I were for like our first like week or two. Like we were just
And
fucking
still
winging
are.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We're still definitely learning, but at least we have a better grasp on things. Like so, you know, and it was just fun. Like we just were fucking up here drinking and fucking. You know, at that point too, yeah, and we were like at a good buzz point too by the time we started ripping into stories.
Only 2 more problems.
Go on.
Oh, 3 more things.
Okay.
2 problems and one I want to add to it.
Okay.
The number 1, I don't like anybody talking bad about Fleetwood Mac. That came up.
That was also Ref Cav.
Yeah. And that's just because I'm a classic music guy, like classic rock. And right now, Fleetwood Mac is kind of a like in the ether. Like young people are into Fleetwood Mac now, and I understand that that's annoying.
So they're coming back
but
around.
I just kind of like, I just can't not like them.
I don't hate them. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
on the radio, I'll sing it, but it's not like I would ever
Yeah.
like go and like get any of their music.
I'm that guy. I go in deep tracks on them for some reason.
Okay.
And
I mean,
like
you
the
like
side
what you
projects.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing was I didn't know you could pee out of the window.
Oh yeah. Oh well. I mean,
Here I am trying to be respectful to Dirty Tony's house, but a guy named Dirty Tony should let you pee out his window.
of course you can pee out the window.
Yeah, that's gonna
It's
happen.
The attic window.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah. See, remember in the past episodes where we were taking breaks so you could go down and make a pee. Now
Why are you making
can,
it sound like I'm the only one that ever has to pee?
Well, I have to pee, but I hold it like an adult. You're the one with baby bladder.
No, I
You
think
did
you.
it 2 weeks in a row.
It's because before the show starts, people at home, before the show starts, Tony takes a rubber band and he wraps it around his penis over and over again. He also hangs weights from it, and that's just for size.
For the good of the show.
Yeah,
You know, I'm a professional.
not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very amateur move.
I go
dude.
downstairs and I pee like a gentleman. But if I knew we could pee out windows, I'm a window
Oh,
peer.
yeah. You can pee out the window for sure. Like, the reason why that's been a thing, I mean, I've done that at multiple
Sure.
locations.
Yeah.
But we've had parties up here playing beer pong and stuff, and instead of going downstairs to pee, we would just pee off the roof.
Yeah.
And so Kev has known that, and so that was just an automatic trigger for him.
Thanks,
the thing
Kev.
is, though, is that he was just moving the fan over and then just peeing.
I know.
out of the
I was
instead of-
listening to it, and I kept hearing you say it over and over. Kev, move the fan.
Yeah.
Move the can.
I was like, or just
move
piss into it.
Come on. Just
Piss
the
in the
whole
wind,
time I
Devin.
was like, piss in the wind. Do it. Just do it. I wanted to splash back on
Oh,
everybody.
man, I was really hoping for it, too.
Yeah, that was a game changer.
Yeah.
Now I know that that's open.
Uh-huh.
And then the last thing I don't know if there was a great Carlos Baerga story.
Yeah, I was just about to bring this up and see what your thoughts were on that.
We have a dog. We have 3 dogs. I've talked about them before.
Right.
The middle dog, the little medium-sized dog, is named Carlos Baerga.
That's right. Do you remember
After
saying that?
Carlos. Yeah, we had a cat at one time. His name was Omar Vizquel.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a dog, Carlos Baerga. And then we nicknamed the big dog, his real name's Texas. I got him from my brother.
Because
He's
a
pre-named.
Walker Texas Ranger.
But on his tag it says Albert Texas Bell.
Pretty close.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that, and I want to say we also recently just met Carlos Baerga, and he was a sweetheart of a guy to us.
Yeah, from what Bod was saying,
Yeah.
like he seems like a really nice dude. I mean, that's a pretty.
He might mac on
crazy
your girl,
story.
but like,
yeah,
it's still, dude. It's Carlos Baerga. And what we went to like one of these. I was at that Crusher Stadium, that AAA ball club, you know, on 90 when probably right before that exit you get off at.
okay.
And they had like washed up Cleveland guys, all playing softball against Cleveland celebrities, you know.
Okay,
And he was there, and he was like the nicest guy in the world.
that's awesome.
So I was like, that's pretty sweet. And also in my basement where I work, my little screen printing studio, there's a picture of Carlos Baerga hanging up on the wall, and he's got his shirt open with like a heart on his chest. And I have to look at this asshole all day long.
And he's got a little heart necklace, and it's open, and you see Bod's girlfriend.
Yeah.
There's a little picture of hers inside there.
He was pretty cool about that. That dude's a diehard sports fan. Like he was pretty laid back about the fact that Carlos Baerga disappeared with his girl.
Yeah.
But he's just trying to, you know, you can't blame Carlos.
You don't
for
know.
trying.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do in that situation? Do you dump your girlfriend for
I don't think. I mean,
getting dick that's not yours, or you're just like, well, me and Carlos Baerga are tunnel buddies now, so that's a thing. Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
I also like that he said that he's got a belly on him, and that he talked about just the dude's drinking like barely alcohol and just nothing but sugar.
Yeah,
He is like a portly gentleman.
I
now.
forget the name of those drinks that Bob was talking
Yeah,
about.
I forget.
Grand Marnier.
Grand Marnier, yeah.
Yeah, Grand Marnier, something like that.
It's just like orange
Just
flavored,
pure
like thick.
liqueur or something.
Yeah, it comes out like syrup. But what a badass that he's like. Yeah, he made it sound like he told the bartender 2 of those.
Yeah.
And the bartender was probably like, "What the fuck? What's your shot of choice?"
For me,
Yeah,
tequila.
yeah.
I love tequila. So we usually keep Humidor in the house or Espolón. When we go up to the fun house, we always drink Espolón.
Really? I didn't know that about you. I know we've taken tequila shots together, but
Oh, yeah.
I like whiskey.
Yeah, see, everybody's a whiskey person, and I don't hate whiskey.
Is that true? Like, most of the time, when people buy me shots, I get, well, it doesn't really count as whiskey. I get Fireball, or I get like a Cherry Bomb or something like that.
Okay, well, everybody's
A lot of
pretty
people
much
around you?
If people, like all my friends, Lakewood in general, whatever. Like Jameson's like a huge shot, like even if people that can't decide.
I don't like Jameson. It seems too Catholic for me.
when people are like, oh, you guys going to do a shot, and no one can decide, usually whoever's buying's like, all right, we're doing Jameson's. Like that's just usually the automatic go-to. Fireballs, that was a huge blast. I mean, I'll drink it if someone does it. Same with any of the whiskeys. I'm not a huge whiskey guy.
I like Fireball just fine, but I'm not. It's not my thing.
Because you are a big Pitbull fan? Is that why? Or?
Pitbull.
Yeah, that's why you love Fireball?
How'd you know that?
Well, Freddie. I've known
No,
you forever.
I don't like Fireball. Really, like I've never ordered it. I've never bought it.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't taste like liquor, and I think like that's the appeal for a lot of people. I like.
That's why they
the
like
burn
it,
a
because
little
they're like, oh, I drink whiskey because technically it is whiskey, but it tastes like Big Red gum.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
does. That's all it tastes like.
Yeah,
Big Red
it's
gum,
that
which I'm
spicy
fine
cinnamon.
with. But
and that's fine. Someone buys it for me.
Yeah.
Sure. But if I get a choice, I always choose tequila. And I'm an adult. I don't need any lime or salt. I just like the motherfucker straight. I don't need it chilled. I just straight tequila. I just love the taste of tequila.
oh, you act like you're Mr. Gipad now.
Yeah, dude. This is always. I've always loved tequila, and I mean rum also.
You like rum?
I love rum. And again, when we would be out, like I don't know, over the past handful of years, like we'd be out somewhere, and they'd be like, "Oh, we'll have an X amount of Jamesons and a Sailor Jerry," and people are like, "I can't believe you're shooting fucking rum. Like people only drink rum in like their mixed drinks." I'm like, I'm a fucking pirate, dude. I'll drink rum all day.
Yeah,
love that shit.
I'm not a huge rum fan, but I don't mind it.
Sailor Jerry is really great. It's got, it's like, it's a spiced rum, but it also has this kind of like caramely taste to it, but it goes great. My favorite is with Dr. Pepper, but bars don't carry Dr. Pepper. But it is also really good with ginger ale.
I like, my 2 things are, if I'm going with a mixed drink, I like gin a lot. I like gin and tonics. I like gin and anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going for a shot, I just go with cheap whiskey. I don't care if it's Jack Daniels or what,
See, I can't do Jack Daniels. Just from the younger days.
What about
being...
those the meatball shot chasers?
Well, that wasn't Jack Daniels.
No,
though.
but it was worse. It was called Pleasurable Moments.
What? That's not a real whiskey.
I'm not joking.
I don't remember that.
It was called Pleasurable Moments, and I think somebody gave it to us as a joke. It was a real whiskey.
Off. That was
it was like bottom shelf.
Okay.
And it was what was that like Mad TV skit where it was like two fat people walking on the beach, and like they put their hand on the thing and the guy pulled it away.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
God damn.
Oh, are you talking about where like? It was SNL when they would, or was it Mad TV where they had TV, like a little soft like
it was their version beginning. Of there was a sunset beginning
and it would be like
a dude like his video thing to meet chicks, you know what I mean? It would be like a nerd dude.
Okay.
And he'd be like, oh god,
I might have seen this.
And because I would sing that theme song about pleasurable moments. That's the only reason why I remember all this.
Gotcha. No, I don't remember that being the name of the whiskey.
That was a bottom shelf.
I remember
pretty sure
it was
a bottom
shitty
shelf
whiskey.
Yeah.
Meatball chasers, dude. We need to do that again soon. That's the fucking shit, dude.
That was.
But we'll get something at least a little better than pleasurable moments, unless we can find that.
If I
bottle.
find that again, I'm buying it.
Yeah, then we definitely have to have it. With shitty pleasurable moments and meatball chasers. That is the pleasurable moment, actually.
Yeah. It was a pleasurable moment. Yeah. The next day, just hearing you blow farts downstairs.
Oh yeah, dude.
And we would just start laughing. We just hear you blowing farts, and then you guys would start laughing, and then I would start laughing.
So this actually reminds me of a really funny story. So when you're just talking about farts through...
oh, no. It always comes back to this.
Dude, farts are hilarious, dude. So farts coming through the house, if you're able to hear my farts upstairs, okay? So a handful of years ago, I was living with my friend Val. And we lived in a normal, like, Lakewood house. So, like, it's, like, living room, dining room, kitchen. Then it's, like, bedroom, bathroom, bedroom. Essentially, that's how all Lakewood houses are set up.
Yeah.
And I went out on this date with this girl. And we went out and, did our thing, had dinner, went and had drinks. And then Val texted me and was like, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you guys, like, want to hang out? How's the date going? And so I asked her, I was like, hey, do you want to go back and hang out at the house? I was like, my roommate's got her boyfriend over. Like, we can kind of, like, hang out and, have some drinks, whatever, and bullshit. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. So, like, we end up going back, all hanging out, bullshitting. And then it gets down to, like, down the night. So, we're like, okay, we're going to go to bed. So we go in, like, we pass out. Now in the morning, I wake up to the sound. And I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, I'm, like, sitting up. And I, like, look over and I have, like, one knee up. Like, I always sleep with one leg straight out and one leg, like, knee up.
Yeah.
But as I look over, she's kind of, like, aslant, and her butt is, like, up against my leg. and her feet are, like, over my leg, And I was, like, looking around. I was like, what the hell is that? And I was like, I don't know, whatever. So then I lay back down. I started to doze off, and I wake up, and I hear this sound again. I'm, like, looking around. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I looked down at this girl, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, did this girl?
She's just blowing farts on you.
Yeah, I was like, is she farting and I'm waking up to this? Like, what the hell's going on? So I'm like, I'm waiting and waiting. I don't hear any more sounds. So then as I put my head back onto the pillow, I actually feel this girl fart on my leg. So naturally, I start laughing, and I could feel her, like, kind of adjust, probably hearing from, like, feeling me laugh, and I just play it off like nothing even happened, right?
This is like a Tony mating call. This is like
I know. So then, and I'm, and then I doze back off, whatever, and then we, like, wake up, and it's like, give our goodbyes, hey, I had fun last night, talk to you later, blah, blah, blah. So after this girl leaves, I run inside, and I was like, Val, you'll never believe what just happened. So I'm going over the store with her. I was like, I hear the sound. I wake up. I don't know what's going on. I hear the sound, and then she farts on my leg. And the whole time I'm telling the story, My roommate, she's just fucking dying, dude. She thinks it's the most funniest thing. And I'm laughing while I'm telling the story. And I was like, man, that was crazy. I never had a first date where this girl's like farting all over me or whatever. And then as I finish up, and she's like, you know what's really the best thing about this entire story? I'm like, what? And she's like, those sounds you were waking up to? I was like, yeah. She's like, that was me farting in my room. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, oh, I was ripping huge farts. And her boyfriend was like apparently yelling at her because she's just dropping huge farts. The farts were so loud that it went through.
It was waking you up
into the bedroom or through the bathroom into my room.
Powerful.
And I was waking up to these farts, and the whole time I was waking
Powerful
up to them.
Val farts.
And I thought this girl was like farting and waking up to it. I mean, she
just
did actually
blowing beasts on your leg.
She actually did, turns out, but those sounds I was waking up to wasn't her at all. It just happened to be that she actually did fart on my leg while I was awake. But it was my roommate that was blasting farts that I was waking up to.
Shit. It was like multi-sensory. You had one sense going on here, and then from the other room, your auditory senses.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience.
When I lived with you on Bunts, like I heard you fart and giggle so many times.
It's a new Thunder game.
There,
That's
your Thunder
game,
yeah, your Thunder game was something else. But it would just be during the day. I'd just hear, and then I'd hear you start giggling, and whoever you're with start giggling.
The best part is,
or you'd go and then, and I'm just upstairs shaking my head.
And the best part is too is that like asking any of my friends, ones that you know and what have yous, even ones that you don't know, they'll tell you even to this day that farts is still like my favorite thing. And
I know.
It's like I still like record my farts like in the morning and like on Snapchat and I send it to my friends. Most of them think it's funny, and some of them are like, "Hey man, it's been forever since you sent me a fart snap." And then I get ones that get so mad at me. They're like, "Quit fucking sending me snaps of your farts. It's fucking
I know
gross."
you do make a big production of it. Like when we're out at a bar and you fart, like you have to make sure everybody knows you're going to fart. And then sometimes, like, you'll be playing on your phone and you'll just lift your leg and fart. And I'll be like, what's wrong, Tony? Are you okay, Tony? Are you upset about something? Why didn't you make a big production out of it?
Are you feeling okay? There was a New Year's Eve. Fuck, I wish Garrison was up here. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he was here when you came over or not.
I was going to ask. I like saying hi to him.
Yeah, he might either been in his room or he might have left. I don't know where he's at, but a couple, fuck, I mean, this had to be actually probably around the time of the Bunce house. I don't know what stage of it, but it was definitely during that time. It could have been either when Hess, which is Bod's older brother, by the way. Remember, like, the guy I was talking about, the big, tall dude with the kind of froey hair, Napoleon Dynamite? That's Bod's older brother.
Oh, no shit. I've been around that dude, yeah.
Yeah, and Bod has been over, like, at random times, but, like, you know, it was probably just quick introductions or whatever.
And, like, you guys have either been up in my place or I've been down in yours when they have parties.
Exactly.
So a lot of these people are kind of familiar, but I know in the periphery. You know?
Right. But we were down at the 5 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and we're all standing, you know, you're familiar, so, like, kind of standing at the part of the bar that's closest to the door, like the entry. And I ripped this fart. And you can't hear it because all the music's playing, but then it smelled fucking terrible to where everybody's starting to blame each other who farted, you know? And then I'm just looking around like, oh yeah, this smells who farted, dude. So now the whole bar from the right side all goes to the left side of the bar to the people that have no idea what's even going on. So of course I move with them. And now we're all there hanging out like, man, I hope that fart goes away. But then I rip another fart. No one hears it. Here comes that smell again. So now even the left side of the bar didn't, you know, get the part of the original fart.
It's like a concert. You're like, oh, where my people on the left side at? Where my people on the right side at? Here's a little fart for everybody.
So then everybody moves from the left side of the bar and moves all the way over to the right side.
You're a bad man.
Oh, dude, I was a bad man. And because I did that at least another one or two more times until I finally, like, I was like, I'll wait till I go outside to smoke and rip farts. And then, I mean, people will, like, I know, like, Andy and Garrison, like, they remember to this day that, like, just ripping farts, just bringing the bar from one side to the other. Like, they don't have anywhere to go.
No. You are, like, you're a special guy when it comes to that. And I hate entertaining your fart stories, but there was this one time I I was at a restaurant with my buddy, like getting lunch, like midday lunch, and there's an older couple in front of us, and the dude gets out of his seat, and it was wintertime. He like adjusts his jacket, like he shakes his jacket down to like, you know, get it to fall in place so he could throw it on his back, right? And he's a larger gentleman. Okay. And he's right next to my buddy's face, and he just blows a fart, right? I swear to God, Tony, I saw my buddy's hair. It goes in the wind, like he had a little shaggy cut, right? It just goes, and his eyes get huge. It's like somebody blew on his neck, and I'm across the table from him, and my eyes got huge, and I'm trying to hold it all in, but this dude just blew a fart right in my buddy's face. And we tried to hold it together because they're an old couple. He probably can't help himself.
Right, yeah.
And I wait until like they get close to like where the door is, you know. And we both just bust out laughing. I couldn't hold it in any longer. Much like him, I couldn't hold my laughing any longer. But I swear, and maybe I made it up in my head, but my buddy's hair went.
Dude, that would be so amazing to see, like, in real life. I always wanted to do the whole, like, put baby powder in my butthole and then fart so it makes it like the poof. Like a fart you can actually see. I just need someone to be a good enough friend to put the baby powder in my beehole.
You gotta find your ride or die dudes.
I know.
Where you at?
Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
One of my ride or dies.
I'm gonna chalk that up like a pull cue.
I'll put chalk on there. Get the cue in there, dude.
It's like LeBron James out of your asshole. When he throws the baby powder
exactly.
out.
Yeah. And I know, Rev Kev would do it for me. Bod would do it. I think I have a lot of friends that would actually do it for me. I mean, Garrison, no way.
No?
He's the biggest homophobe I know.
You said smartest guy you know wrong. Because Garrison's a smart dude. I've talked to him like 5 times, and I'm like, oh, this dude doesn't suffer fools. Like, he's quiet, and he's nice, and he's smart.
Yeah.
But he doesn't suffer fools. He's like, get that shit away from me.
Tune,
like, when you were trying to get him in the podcast, and you were fighting with him over like being up here telling stories, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it, and I was like, I know he's not going to do it. He's way too smart for this. It takes a bunch of dum-dums to sit here and tell these stories.
But this is the fun part of being a dum-dum.
This is the fun. I mean, if you got to be a dum-dum, make it fun.
All right.
But Garrison's too smart for us.
If you're going to be dumb, you got to be fun. Am I right?
If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, dude. Farts are funny, man.
I wanted to say one other thing. We'll say this. We'll call them this now. It's our sister podcast, Plucking Petals.
Oh, okay. We're dropping the Plucking Petals early. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this before show, but I myself met Kyle Wirtz himself today.
Oh, I forgot he was doing a delivery
he
put an
picked
order
up some
through
t-shirts.
For some shirts.
He bought some t-shirts from old Freddie Miller.
Aww.
I met the nice man. He showed up at my house looking dapper. I was
Mayor
wearing
Wirtz,
a pair
he
of
always
shorts.
looks dapper.
I was wearing a pair of gross shorts that my nephew wrote on the leg, punched me in the face, and on the back I wrote.
I love him already.
On the back I wrote "Boom City" across the ass for no reason.
So
right?
instead of saying like juicy, it says Boom City.
Boom City. And I like to wear that with my my favorite basketball jersey of Grant Hill from like 1990.
Do you have a picture of those shorts?
I'll get them to you.
Give me a picture. I'm gonna put that.
But he came in like he was in his workwear, and well, apparently I was also in my workwear, but it's very different. And he's a dapper, nice gentleman. He came and he bought some shirts off of me that I made, and they were some of the most fun shirts that I've made in a while.
Okay. What were the shirts?
Well, they're two-tone. Like the pocket is black and the shirt is like a heather gray.
Okay.
And they have this cool logo of a corn dog with a bite out of it, right?
Okay.
And I've tried to convince people to get pocket T-shirts all the time because they were kind of cool for a little while,
right?
And I still love them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, I want that." And I only printed something that was like 4 inches wide on it.
Okay.
And it looks like sweet. It looks like something you'd want to wear. And I think he's selling them through either his podcast or through his site. So tune into Plucking Petals podcast to see where he's selling it and buy it because it's a cool shirt to own. But I also threw in with his order And anybody that orders from me, like if they mention it, especially a small logo like that,
Yeah.
I threw in koozies. And we got a sneak peek right now.
Oh, snap.
Me and you are drinking beers like we always do.
Right.
This is the logo that's on there.
This is fucking
A
cool.
little sad corn dog with a bite taken out of it. So we'll put our beers in here and we'll cheers.
All right. Thanks, Mayor Wirtz. This is a cool logo.
Yeah.
And thanks to Shirtful Freddie, a.k.a. Handsome Freddie. Let me open this little guy up here.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Salud.
And also, I thought of this.
The beer tastes better with it.
If he did like a little podcast on his own, I'd want it to be named, because his name is Kyle Wirtz, W-E-R-T-Z. It should be called Wirtz and All instead of Warts and All.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm a marketing genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so you don't know what the full gimmick of this corn dog was yet, huh?
I have a feeling we're gonna.
There
learn.
was like nothing, like no fonts or anything, no punchline or
Nope.
anything. Just that's it. Just
That's such a strong image. It's gonna stand on its own.
I cannot wait to ask Kyle about this.
This
now.
was the first T-shirt like in a long time that I printed, and I printed some cool ones.
Mm-hmm.
This was one that I was like, I want to own. I want to own this this two-tone T-shirt pocket with a corn dog with a bite taken out of it.
What a genius that kid is,
He is.
Mr. Mayor Wirtz.
He's a smart dude, and he's part of Something Dada, the Lakewood improv group.
Yes. Yep.
I don't like, and this is coming from me, I love stand-up comedy. I don't like improv, and Something Dada, they got a reputation. They're great. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, and he's doing. I just listened to the brand new episode on my way home from work today.
I haven't.
Like they just uploaded a new one like this morning. But I know that he's got a bunch of shows and stuff that are coming up, and I think he's got like improv shows. And I don't know if you know this, but he also raps.
Oh.
Now, do you know who Froggy Fresh and Moneymaker Mike is?
No.
Okay, so this dude Froggy Fresh used to go by Krispy Kreme, and Krispy Kreme, once this kid started getting a following, the actual donut company called him out and said, "Yo, you can't have that. That's our company name, so
Wow.
you need to change it." So he changed it to Froggy Fresh. Now, this Froggy Fresh, somewhere in the South, I don't know where, but he's got that Southern twang to him. So imagine like a 5-foot Southern thick-ass twang rapper. So he's like rapping like, "Out on the court, me and my boys." Like, that's like how he raps. So you're like, and all of the songs they do, like the beats are fucking good. He's actually a really good rapper, but like his lyrics are really like third grade, But the thing is, Kyle's going to be playing with this dude in September, so we have to fucking go.
That sounds awesome.
I'm really, really excited for this. And like, this dude's got a song about being Power Rangers and like playing driveway basketball, and like I'll have to show you some videos later. Like, it's very entertaining. But so I'm so excited. Like when Kyle posted up that he was playing a show with these dudes.
I'm learning a lot about Kyle, and he seems like a stand-up dude.
Dude, Kyle's awesome.
And that Plucking Pedals podcast I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can buy shirts off of him. And
Right.
we win because we get these awesome corn dog koozies.
Yeah, these are fucking sweet. I'm so happy that you made some for us.
Yeah.
Let's do another cheers to
Cheers.
that. Thanks again, Kyle. And by the way, while we're talking about them, any of you guys that have been tuning in to Plucking Pedals, they were normally a bi-weekly podcast, but they are now switched over to being weekly, so which is awesome. So you can get more Kyle and James, more entertainment. If you're into funny things, into smart things, like that's the perfect show.
Yeah.
It's a good combination. They have a good dynamic, if you will.
Or if you're also bi-weekly, meaning that you're bi and you're weak, this is the podcast for you.
This one or that one?
It's hard to say.
So is
If you're bi and you're weak and you're not in this room right now, I don't know you.
So yeah, again, guys, Plucking Pedals podcast. They're on YouTube and iTunes and Google Play and what have you. So you can search them. Plucking Pedals with Kyle and James, I believe, is the full name. But it's a fun little bit to listen to, and it's awesome that they're actually just weekly now. Because sometimes I feel like 2 weeks it takes forever, but weekly's fun. So this would be cool to get being caught up with them every week.
Yeah. And they're our sister podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We'll support them and they support us.
That's right. Thanks, ladies.
How rude.
Oh yeah, I forgot. So when we were talking about the liquor earlier, I was going to switch over to beer, and since we are in the mood for repping our friends into things, on Friday I was actually with Mr. Mayor Wirtz and a few of other friends, and we went down to my buddy opened up a brewery over in Cam's Corner called Working Class Brewery.
Excellent.
And we went over there on Friday and had a little taste. I got to tell you, the beers are fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
And like, you know, it's right in like in the plaza, like where the Marx is, and like there's like the Dragon Tower. It's called Working Class Brewery. I had a handful of beers. They're delicious. The coasters, like the logo is like a fist, and it's got like tattoo knuckles on there. You know, it says beer, and when you flip it over, it says gone to pee. So it's like one of those things, like, you know, when people usually go to smoke or bathroom break, you could put that on top of your beer. So I think that's something that you really need. So next time I go, I'm gonna
I'm a
pick
window guy from here on out.
so you're a window guy now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, if you guys are into tasty beers, microbrews, what have yous, IPAs, blondes, wheats, whatever, go to Working Class Brewery over in West Park. It's in the Cam's Corner Plaza. They have great prices, great beers. You can get your beers in 5 ounce, 9 ounce, 16 ounce, and 20 ounce, which is fucking cool. Because if you're like, I want to try this beer, you can get a little 5 ouncer and for like $2. That way, if you're not into it, you know, you're out $2. Big fucking deal. And
it's a fun way to start your night, like going to a place like that.
It is. It's a perfect place to start your Friday or Saturday.
Because I'm like you. We're both cheap beer dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy, like we did today. We have some Great Lakes, and then we switch over to cheap beer. Like I like to start the night with something nice, and then, you know, stay where I belong.
Right.
In the gutter.
Back to where we should be.
Yeah, in the gutter with you blowing farts.
No, and they even have the like those bar bowling machines. You know, which I'm always a big fan of.
Like at Richland, they used to have that?
Did they have one there?
They had a bar bowling machine where it has the wires you got to hit with the skee ball.
Yeah. Well, I always play at the Red Rose. I can remember if the
Richland had one.
Did they have one a long time ago?
And then when they did that like ghetto reboot where they like painted everything.
Oh yeah, they switched sides.
Yeah, they got rid of it.
That's right.
That was
that
was my second favorite thing about the Richland. My first favorite was taking Hat Game there.
Yeah. Oh, Hat Game. You know what we're gonna have to do sometime is do like a live feed, just for a fun thing of us just playing Hat Game and bullshitting, and then just let people just like, you know, because people have heard us talk about Hat Game,
sure,
but then they can get a little insight,
you
know, or just taking a little video of doing a shoe flip.
Shoe flip.
Yeah, and then just posting up just to see, you know, how many you could do on a record. So even if you're bored at home, record yourself. Just make a little video, like a 30-second video or something of you doing shoe flip, and then just seeing how many you can get in that time, and then we post up to the page for people to get a little thing out of it.
Shoe flip is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're like, if you're stuck in line in Chipotle, which I'm always stuck in line at Chipotle, like it's so hard for me not to play shoe flip. Just because, what else am I doing?
Right.
I'm not playing on my phone. Everybody's playing on their phone.
You have a lot of time to fucking. I know. I always
and you know I like a game.
Yeah.
You know
you love your games, dude.
That's true.
Shoe flip. That's the perfect game to be waiting for Chipotle.
Yeah. I forgot. I thought I had something else. What's our? Do you got anything good? Did you do anything cool last week? I didn't ask you. I know you're a working man. Like you're double jobbing it.
Right. No. I mean, this past Friday we went to like that Working Class Brewery. Last week there wasn't really anything too exciting going on.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I talked about last week. I talked about going to like Dropkick and Rancid and all that, which was fucking awesome. Like Rancid played an amazing set. Dropkick was okay. Bouncing Souls were pretty good too. But
Bouncing Souls, I forgot. My brother was at that show.
Oh, was he?
Who you met? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that,
no, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of Warped Tour. I just saw a picture of him with Bouncing Souls.
This was like not 2 days ago Sunday, but like the Sunday before. Yeah, it was down at Nautica. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, other than that, I'm working like the second job. You know, I know what I want to talk about. since we are a couple weeks behind now. And so I was really, really excited about this 2 weeks ago to bring this to your attention, but shit happens and, we move forward. But I still want to bring this up just for people that don't know what the situation is. Like, maybe the Lakewood locals are aware, and I know my group of friends definitely are. But I wanted to bring this to you. And I don't know if I ever told you about our April Fool's Day party that we had earlier this year.
Oh, yeah. I really wanted to go
Oh, yeah,
to
that's right. I invited you to it. Okay, so let me start off by, in like February this year, my buddy James, he does a thing every year for like a fun undies run thing. So like you get drunk, you run for like a mile in your undies,
Yeah.
in the cold. But he was having the like fundraiser for it in like February. So we're like, fuck yeah, we're going to go, support this, see James. It's for like a good cause. I think it was like kids with tumors or something along those lines. So then we were there and like, hang out with everybody. And then so of course they had like all the like the prizes, So you buy tickets, and it's like, oh, you get this many tickets for like you can use like your wingspan. Of course, we would find somebody that's like your height and your wingspan that we would use them to
I do
for our
have nice
tickets.
wings.
Yeah. And use them and I was with Toomey, and we're both roughly about the same height. He's a little taller than I am, but we both have similar arms, so we found someone of your size. And so we got a shit ton of tickets, and we're like, okay, cool. Here's like a trip to Kalahari. Here's like a Cleveland Cavs package. Here's a safari ride. Here's an hour on like Lolly the Trolley, and then we get down to this bag. And it was get an hour free with Gilligan the Magician. And we're like...
That's how you got that?
This is... Yeah. Well, yeah, listen. Okay, so like we're both like, holy fuck. And I was like, hey, Toombs, did you ever have a magician when you were a kid for like birthday parties? He's like, no. And I was like, yeah, dude, me either. And we're like, we need to have an adult party for all of us that never got to have a magician for birthday parties or been invited to a birthday party that had a magician. So we started dumping all of our fucking tickets like into this bag, and we're starting to like joking about it. We're like, dude, he's like, Mike's like, what? He's like, if I win like this hour on the Lolly the Trolley and the magician, like Gilligan, he's like, I'm not inviting anyone. It's just gonna be me and this magician by ourselves for an hour on the Lolly the Trolley. And I was like, oh, you have to have like a GoPro, like just you have to film that whole thing. So we're hanging out, and they finally start doing the raffles, and we're getting excited. And Mike won like a couple of things, but then it gets down to this Gilligan package, and
Gilligan the Magician.
Yeah. So then James is stirring up the tickets inside the bag, and here he goes. He pulls the name out, and we're so excited. And then he calls some girl's name, and we're both like, what the fuck? Like, we dumped probably at least 15 tickets into this bag, and there was only like 2 or 3 that was in there. So this girl only put like 2 or 3 tickets in there and fucking won it out of all of ours. So we're like, this is fucked. So now we're all upset about it. We didn't get this magician. And when the girl, we were talking to her about it, and she's like, oh, well, you can come over when I have the party. And we're like, and she was like, fuck that. I'm not coming to your fucking party. I'm going to have my own party. And then he's like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so
aggressive about a magician.
Yeah. He's like, I'm so sorry.
Nobody's ever been this aggressive about a magician ever.
Right. So then we start talking about it, and we're like, well, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look him up. He's got to be on Facebook. So I find him on Facebook. Find his page. I start sending him a message. I'm like, hey, my guy, we're going to have a party on April 1st, and it's going to be an adult party. We want to have a magician there. So he messages me back. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, that sounds good. He's like, I'm not booked up for that. And I was like, okay, great. So then I started discussing like prices and what have yous with him, getting all the details out. And I was like, again, by the way, I was like, there's not going to be any children, so it's just going to be adults. Yeah. That so you know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. And then so like, and I had the party, so I invited like all these people, me and Toomey, including you. And so we had Chipotle catered.
Yeah.
I had everybody show up around 1 o'clock, and I had the magician show up around 4. Gilligan.
I remember everything about this. I was really excited about it.
Yeah, and so like, I was like, that'll give everybody at least 3 hours to get nice and drunk before the magician shows up. So then everyone's hanging out, dicking around, drinking, and then he finally shows up. So I was like, okay. I was like, hey man, I was like, you could set up over here. Just let me know whenever you're ready. I'll pull everyone together. And he's like, all right, cool. So then he like starts setting everything up, and I was like, I went over, I was like, hey, do you want like a beer, drink, whatever you want. So we got him, he only wanted like a pop and whatever. And so then I was like, just let me know whenever you're ready. And he's like, if it's okay, I would like to just kind of go feel the crowd out, just doing a couple of card tricks and like warm up a little bit. And I was like, yeah, dude, I was like, do whatever you want. So he walks up to like the first group that had like 3 or 4 people, and he's got his cards with him. And of course, I'm like, I'm not fucking missing this shit. So I'm standing right there. So as he's doing things, the entire party stops what they're doing. And there had to be at least like 30, 40 people or whatever going on. And then so they're like, everyone knows what's going on. So everyone just pretty much builds an entire circle around Gilligan. And he's fucking doing these card tricks. And everyone's like losing their fucking minds, dude. Like screaming world star. Like it was like that shit. Like it was the most craziest shit. Like he blew everyone's fucking minds. And then he took like a mini break. He went over.
Did you have the bounce house or no?
No, I was gonna have the blow up gladiator, like the
yeah, that's it. You wanted to do the
what do you call that?
Jousting.
The jousting, yeah. But like it was like wet from like raining like the day before.
I remember that day.
Yeah, so and it was cold as fuck. So I couldn't have that out. But it was like a 22 by 20 something foot thing, blow up ring.
Yeah.
And then it's got the jousting stands you stand on.
I
with the
remember
actual
when
things.
I read it out loud.
The description, like on the Facebook
I was
page.
like, "Fucking Tony,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch."
Oh yeah.
Because you are that guy. Like this is something everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
You went for it.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was so
like
mad.
if I'm gonna be throwing parties, like this is what it's got to be, And so like. Well, we unfortunately couldn't have that. So then, then he sets up his table, takes a quick break, and then we all like went over and like when he was ready, then we're all standing in front of him and he's like pulling people out into the crowd, pulling out, doing more tricks and my one buddy Jacob he was wearing a fucking blow up like T-Rex costume. Which everyone fucking loved. And here's the best thing. It's like, obviously, when you're wearing this T-Rex costume, it's hard. You can't really drink anything. This motherfucker found a way to... Because he drinks, like, liquor drinks, like Tito's and soda. Well, he was found out how to do, like... He poured his drink into, like a 20-ounce bottle. He did, like, his Tito's and soda all in there. And he got one of those long straws... and put it all the way down in there, and then had it come like all the way up his sleeve,
Jesus,
and then come all the way inside, so that way he can still drink his drink while he was
resourceful.
Oh, dude, it was fucking. I was like, oh my god, Jacob, this is a fucking genius ass idea, dude. Everybody loved it. So I mean, party's going on, everyone's getting drunker. Gilligan's blowing everyone's fucking minds. We're screaming world star, just jumping all over the place, like cheering, like everyone's minds are fucking blown, right? And so we're like, all right, the hour's up, and we're like, hey, let's go down to the bar down at the bottom of the street, Bobbio's. And I was like, hey, do you want to come along? And he's like, yeah, I'll come along. So I was like, sweet. And as everyone's packing up, like me and Toomey get to each other, and we're like, dude, we peaked this year, dude. This is the best party that's gonna happen for us all year. We peaked in fucking April, and we have an entire summer to get through. Yeah, which we still haven't thrown anything since.
Well, I remember it. We were so excited about it, and I remember I texted you, and you were already at some bar, and you were like, everybody here is wasted."
Oh yeah.
You were like, "It's like almost not even worth coming out." And I was like, "All right, yeah."
Yeah. So like we all get down there, drinking more, and Gilligan's having a wild time. Like everyone starts buying him drinks and shots and stuff, and he's still going, dude. We're not paying him anymore. Like his time is off. I mean, he's getting free drinks, and people are still throwing him a buck here, a couple bucks, $5, whatever.
He's just drinking for free, dude.
Yeah, and people are still throwing him a few bucks.
Think of how much money you spend at a bar.
Oh yeah,
he hasn't spent a dime yet.
Exactly, and he's still on, dude. He's throwing fucking card tricks all in. Everyone's having a fucking blast. Even the people that missed the party showed up at Bobbio's, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Like he's pulling like cards, like people were
Right.
like fingering their buttholes and pulling out this wad, and then they're on camera. It's like, whoa, that's my card. How did you do that? You know? And everyone had like a blast. And you know, this was like our April 1st party, and we're like, dude, that was fucking nuts. That was awesome. Like everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
Most fun that everyone's had, you know, for the year so far. Well, 2 weeks ago, in like our page that we were like throwing like the event and everything, I wake up from my nap and somebody makes a post in there that Gilligan is now being investigated because he's a sex offender. Can you imagine what was going through my mind when I woke up from my nap? I'm like, wait, this can't be true, right? Like, what the fuck?
What'd you do?
So, yeah, so then everyone's commenting, it's like, whoa, what the fuck? And everyone's opening up the article. They had a live video on there of, like, the Channel 19 News, like, going to his house. And it's all on video. And it's like, hey, and they're, like, knocking on his door, and they're like, hey, no, you have to come out of the house and talk to us on camera. And so
it's
they're
like Carl Monday.
Yeah, so essentially what happened is that he never registered of where his workplace was, which you have to do if you're a sex offender. I mean, I get it because he hangs out in bars, he goes to parks, he's around the streets.
There's not a big top around here where he's like, yeah, that's where I work out of.
Yeah, and there's no set location, but I guess in that instance, the best thing you can do is just like put your house as the home address, I guess, right? That's your office, essentially, you know? But that he got in trouble for that. And then so now everything is breaking out. Everyone's like, what the fuck? What did he do? Why is he a sex offender? Did he pull his dick out while he's pissing? What happened? So then we start catching all these stories, you know, like there's, of course, you know, like, oh, you know, because like, and the articles and stuff, it's saying young girls. And we're like, oh, fuck, what happened? You know, how young are these girls? What's going on? And then as everyone's kind of getting all worked up and upset about this, Toomey actually reached out to him before he even really knew what the details were. And he's like, hey, man, he's like, I know that this is a rough time for you. Everyone's kind of getting on your ass about this thing. He's like, I just want to kind of know what's going on. He's like, and, you know, you did a fantastic job at a party. I would definitely hire you again next year, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so Gilligan tells him that back in 1999, he was on a 2-week binge of grabbing 19-year-olds' butts. Like, It was like a fucking crack binge, but he's just grabbing 19-year-olds' butts, like, around a college campus. And I was like, I don't know. It said, like, young girls. I guess 19 can be considered young girls. But then Jacob starts he starts researching this shit, getting in deeper. Then we find out that Gilligan served 15 years in jail. He was in prison for 15 years. Okay?
That's a long time to hone a craft of magicianship.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He only knew a couple of card tricks before he went in. He had a lot of time to practice. That's where he learned his craft, was in jail. Now, the thing is that you don't go to jail for 15 years for grabbing 19-year-olds' butts.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks. And I guess there was a point that he did confess that he did pull his dick out once in front of a girl, thinking that if he pulled his dick out that she would be like, oh, okay, I'll grab onto this and start sucking on it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's never worked ever.
Yeah. So then we're like, okay, now he served 15 years in prison. This isn't making sense. What's going on? But we started digging deeper and digging deeper.
I remember a video of this dude. Like, I remember you posted a video of this dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of looks like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sometimes he wears like a Mad Hatter hat, you know?
Okay.
And that's kind of his, or he wears like a fedora. And don't get me wrong, Gilligan's like a really nice guy.
A legit magician.
Yeah, and his tricks are fucking awesome. Like, it's fucking great. But
he didn't assault anybody at your party.
Not that I know of. I didn't
hear
about any
was
grab
21
ass.
and over.
Yeah. So even if he did, you know, he was fine with it. Yeah. But then, you know, Jacob starts looking and gets deeper and deeper, and then he starts finding his profile like on like the public.
Oh no!
Internet, you know, with his mug shot and all his offenses, and there's multiple accounts from Michigan and Ohio, and then it starts getting into like it's breaking down the cases. Now, each case, it has like a code for what that is. Now, when you Google the code, it explains to you what these could be.
No.
So then
Gilligan, what'd you do?
So we start looking into these codes, and a couple of them are like, this code could be either younger than 13 years old, or it could be between 13 and 16. Now, if the person is handicapped, it could go from 18 to like 26 or 24 or something. But
no.
So, and then there's multiple accounts of that same code. So now we're like, what the fuck? And Toomey was like fighting us. He's like, what's the big deal, guys? He's like, grab a 19-year-old's butt like 20 years ago. So what? Like, who hasn't grabbed like a 19-year-old's butt? You know, like, he's like, get over it.
Oh, they're 40 years old now.
Yeah. And then once we started digging deeper, and then we're bringing in. So then, I mean, he went on to Rover and did like a phone interview and like like trying to explain his case and like, and it does not work out for him. It doesn't, because as soon as he's talking about everything and everyone's thinking the same thing that we were, like, you don't get 15 years for, he's hiding something.
Yeah.
He's not telling the truth at all.
Yeah.
And so like, we're all like,
and when you don't tell the truth about something like that, like, people assume the worst. And
of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. You're hiding something.
That's nature, like, does that to you to protect you,
Mm-hmm. And I feel bad just because, like, this magician gig is, like, his main thing, Like,
yeah.
So, like, I'm sure after he heard this... Oh, let me also rewind back a little bit. Now, when we were at the bar at Bobbio's, he would be going on. He's like, sorry, sometimes I forget how to do this trick. He's like, I suffered some brain injury years ago. And so, of course, we're all drunk and we're all like, oh, what happened? Like, thinking maybe car accident or something. He's like, I actually got jumped by a bunch of dudes, and it was like a mistake of identity. They thought I was someone else, and they like beat me up and like kicked my head in. He's like, I was in the hospital for a while. So with the brain, suffering that I had, like, I forget sometimes how to do some things. It takes me a second that I have to recoup, and then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember. But now, after all this shit goes on, this makes more sense. Because when I told him that it was an adult party, that there's no children there, he told me he doesn't do children's parties. Okay? Boom. There's a flag number one. And then when he's like, I got the shit kicked out of me, suffering brain damage as a mistaken identity. I don't think that actually ever happens.
Right.
I bet some young girl's dad probably found out and just beat the fuck out of him. Sure. Or if it wasn't then, or if he was in jail.
Or what if it happened, like, it might have been something before then. He suffered a bad brain injury, and then afterwards he became this monster. I mean, it's very possible. I have a friend of mine that it's like the saddest story ever. He was a best friend of mine for a long time, and he sustained a skateboarding injury. Mm-hmm. And like it was out of all the risky bullshit we did when we were skateboarding, this was like the most mild of them. He hit his head, and then to like remove a square inch of his skull. He was never the same after that. He became like way more aggressive, way more like impulsive. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's very possible, like what we're learning about like concussions now through boxing and the NFL and stuff like that.
Right.
It's possible he might have totally changed and been like.
I mean, I guess.
Or
I mean,
that's the sad thing about this is when you like learn about like these people that are into such like vile things. Like they're also like people that have been abused themselves or sustained like crazy brain injuries.
And I'm not saying that he didn't have, like, he could have had a crazy past. I feel bad for him because I'm sure a lot of people that once this was on the news, they're just like, unfriend him on Facebook, or they're like, maybe people that already had him hired, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have you for this day. They're like, never mind, cancel. Like, and he's losing income because of it.
I mean, if he did do something wrong, like, he deserves that.
Exactly.
Like, maybe
and the thing is that no one knows for sure, and that's
Yeah.
why part of me feels bad, but the other part I'm like,
the other part of me is like also, if you serve your time and you did that, like, then you served your debt to society, no matter what it is. It's hard to understand when it's something like pedophilia or anything like that, but if it's any other thing, we're okay with you served your time. You're no longer that person.
Right.
I cheer for you to no longer be that person.
Mm-hmm.
So leave that in your past.
Right. And I remember we did talk about that a little bit when we were talking about like episode 7, I believe, when we were got to like the Mansfield prison and all that shit. And you're right. And I think he is a different person now. Yeah. Like, I mean, so at least from what I've taken from him, you know.
He was like, I used to be a creeper. I'm no longer a creeper. I don't do kids' parties.
Yeah.
And then
he's
people
doing
are like,
his best to
he
stay
was a creeper. Unless he did something like that spurred it up again.
Right, you know, and then, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he could be a totally, like, changed person by now. And, you know, and is actually trying to be genuine and just being like, hey, I just want to make people happy, you know, like the excitement of people's reactions to my tricks, you know, it makes me happy, it makes them happy, you know, all the same. But nobody knows the truth, you know? Yeah. And I get it. I mean, if I was him, if I actually was touching girls that were under 18, I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't be telling anybody, especially if he got the shit kicked out of him actually in jail. Yeah, you know, because I know that they don't take, they don't take too kindly to that. And he's gonna be like, "Well, I learned my lesson. Like, I'm never gonna, you know." They found out, like, and they beat the fuck out of me, you know. So,
it's just so funny. Like, what are the odds that that's the same guy?
I know, right? Like, I should have been like, "Hey,
and this is crazy." Like, I'm not a fan of magicians or whatever. I know 2 of them. I know 2 magicians, like practicing magicians, and like. You hired one, and it just turns out that that's a pedophile.
Yeah, I mean, this
is why, like, every time I sit here, I don't know what to expect, because the guy that you hire for your party turns out to be a pedophile.
Here's what I basically did. Hey guys, come to my party, hang out, and get drunk, and see this cool magician. April Fools, he's actually a pedophile. Totally got you guys.
That was a long con.
Yeah,
like, dude. You pulled a long con on this one.
I pulled a long game, dude. I got him April 1st.
Yeah,
but they didn't even know it was a silent victory until like until like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, until like mid-July. That's play that long game, dude.
Jesus Christ, Tony.
I woke up from a nap, and that's what I fucking. That's the article that I like was in our message board.
Did you ever pull the? Now you see my penis. No, you don't.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, I'm sure that's the whole sleight of hand, dude.
The trick you do with your finger and your thumb,
where you take your thumb off of it.
Like, I cut it.
He does that with his dick, though.
Like, oh, that's my dick head.
He does the detachable thumb, but with his dick.
Yes, over your child's crib.
Sleight of hand. He's like, "Oh, is this your 7 of hearts?" And then he's like, you know, grabbing ass.
Your dick and balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ! What are the odds of that?
I know, dude. That's so fucked up. I mean, now I'm like, we felt that was the peak of our year there. That party. I don't know what we're gonna do next year. Yeah. A fucking donkey show. You know. Might as well.
I know 2 magicians, and one of them is.
Do you know anybody that does a donkey show?
No.
Well, then this is not going to be any.
Give
good
me
to
some time.
Okay. You have till next April 1st.
Yeah, I got till April 1st to figure it out. I know 2 magicians, and one of them is married into my family. It's my cousin's husband, and you can follow him on Instagram, Magic Nate, and he's very passionate about it. You know,
I imagine if you're gonna commit to magic, you have to be passionate about it.
It's impressive. The other one is a guy that delivers pizza to my house. His name's Charlie, and he's retired from like a normal job, but he does like magician / clown work.
Clown work, Turk. No.
And he's also
you can't do clown
he's also
work.
like a veteran. He like retired from the Navy, I think. So he's like spent 25 years in the Navy.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, and then is a magician for different organizations. They hire him all the time. But he also like is bored, so he delivers pizza in my neighborhood.
Sure.
So I know 2 magicians now.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I guess you don't.
8 or 9 pedophiles. I know 8 or 9 pedophiles, but only 2 magicians.
Wait till you meet Gilligan.
Oh, Gilligan.
Yeah, so you can only imagine the shock on everyone that was at the party.
Yeah.
You know, everyone reading on this and like, dude, this is knuckin' futz, dude.
That's hilarious.
Like, out of all the magicians that we could have hired and that was at this fundraiser, you know, for James's Fun Undies run.
If you would have said I hired a drywaller that's a pedophile, I would believe you. I've known drywallers when I work construction. And I'm like, yeah, they're all sketchy in some way.
Dude.
They're all like prison ready. Every drywaller I've met is prison ready all the time.
I feel like if you're like a drywalling is like your regular job, it's probably kind of goes hand in hand as being like a landscaper or a construction worker for people that have jail accounts against them that you know they're like they can't get actual good paying jobs and they're like these manual labor exactly
that's it.
So pedophilia, I guess that can that could be a hand.
What are the odds?
I don't know, dude.
What are the odds of this? You open up a phone book. I know they don't exist anymore, but you open up a phone book, flip through the yellow pages for magician. How many of those aren't a pedophile?
Solid question.
I know one. My dude Charlie will hook you up. You need a magician again? Charlie's your guy.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I can bring
need
another
pizza
magician.
Delivered? He's also your guy.
So he will deliver us pizza and do magic tricks.
Yeah, pizza from the Leary.
Okay.
It's going to be cold by the time it gets here.
Oh, yeah. What pizza shop does he work at?
It's called Cazaria.
It's called
Cazaria.
That's so weird. You said it's called.
It's called Cazaria. That was me searching for the name in my head.
I had their fucking pizza at that pizza tasting that I went to out in Elyria.
Yeah, you did?
Dude, they had that pierogi pizza was so fucking good, dude. Oh, my God.
That's my buddy Hussein, his shop. Hussein Abdul, nothing but terrorists. Nothing but terrorists. They make hell of a pizza.
Dude, dude, that was like one of my favorite pizzas. Those are the guys I
worked for like years ago. They owned a east of Chicago. Mm-hmm. Hussein did. And I worked for them. I've been friends with them forever. They're all good dudes. Cazaria. He broke away from the franchise and opened his own joint.
Dude, I would definitely, dude. That pizza was fucking good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it would be cold and.
It's right around the corner from me, so I could walk up there, buy it, and get it home, and it's not cold.
When I come over and hang out at your place, then I have to order from there.
Yeah.
Because that shit was super good. Trying to think of what else they had that was up there. I think they had the regular pepperoni.
They have a taste of Kaz. It's like this crazy amalgamation of that he like dreamed up. It's really good.
Okay.
It's everything. Everything's on this and it's really good.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'll get it for you sometime.
Okay. Yeah. Or if I come out there.
That's where Charlie works.
Old Charlie.
That's where Charlie works.
Well, when it comes down to next year's April 1st party, I'm gonna have to take a vote. And see what everybody wants to do. If they want to take a chance on another magician.
No, I think you should.
Which I think is actually still a good idea.
I think you should go dark for this next party and be like, we're hiring a real pedophile. You guys could all get your pictures taken with him.
There'll still be no children, but we just have a pedophile that just hangs out around the party and you just get your picture taken with him. We just tell him it's like a regular dude and we're like, April Fools totally got you again.
Well, speaking
pedophile joke number 2.
Why did he choose the name Gilligan?
I don't know. I guess that's his real name. I think, but it's like his middle name. It's not his first name because on the public records, I don't remember what his first name is, but I think his middle name is actually Gilligan.
Ugh.
I think. I can't remember.
Weird.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of like magicianship, whatever. I told you that. Some of it's impressive, you know what I mean?
We talked about When I was talking about
I'm
David
too
Blaine.
cynical.
Right.
I'm just not a fun person. But you know what I like is there's a documentary out. I wrote it down so I can remember it. It's An Honest Liar.
Okay.
This documentary. It's about the amazing Randy. And this dude is badass. Like he was like an illusionist / like escape artist type guy, and he made it his goal to like expose people who are like con artists.
That's actually a really cool concept.
So like fake psychics or all psychics,
right?
Or people that are like use religion the wrong way.
Okay.
Especially like those like 1980s, 1990s evangelicals that were like faith healers and stuff like that. That they were just con artists, you know. His first like big get with it was he exposed like I forget who it was, Like there's a guy that bent spoons on the Carson show and stuff like that.
Sure.
He showed how like that's fake. And that guy was having people send him money to like heal them over the phone or whatever.
Oh shit!
Like people like that, where they were using like illusions as a marketing vehicle for them to gain money off of like bettering their lives. He went after them hardcore. And one of them was a guy that was like one of those faith healers where he'd put his hand on you and God would work through him.
Yeah.
And one like I'm not gonna blow the whole documentary for you, but the main part about it was he set up, and this was like in the mid '80s. His wife was backstage radioing to him in a little earpiece, like these people's names and things about them that they want fixed. And he showed up there with like a tuner, tuned in to this radio frequency, finally got onto it and exposed this guy. And then like brought it to Carson and like exposed like all these people on Johnny Carson's show, stuff like that. He's a badass.
It's called The Amazing
He's an
Randy.
old man with a huge long beard. He's a gay dude, and like for the longest time he wouldn't come out of the closet. It was dangerous back then to be out of the closet, you know. And like everything about this guy is lovable. He's just like he's an illusionist. He's an escape artist. He's like all these things. But he'll go out, like, if you're using his art form the wrong way, he'll go after you full blast.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, is this like a TV series documentary or just like one, like a movie
just
documentary?
standalone documentary. I think it's like from 2014 or something like that.
And it's called
The
The Amazing Randy? Is that what you said?
It's called An Honest Liar.
Oh, An Honest
The Amazing
Liar.
Randy is the subject of it.
Honest Liar.
And it was
That
on
sounds like
Netflix. That's
something
where I
that's right
first
up my
saw
alley.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you would love it. You're kind of a documentary buff, too.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching a lot of fucking documentaries
Anything good?
recently. Well, I know like a few weeks ago I told you we did get in discussion about like Mommy Dead and Dearest and the dude that pretends to be like the missing child. Like I was watching and Tickle, like we went through all those. But as of recent, I've been watching prison shows.
I know.
Dude.
It upsets me so much.
Dude, like Lockdown, Maximum Security. You guys, if you
I
have
can't watch any
Netflix,
of those.
if you have Netflix, watch Lockdown, Maximum Security, and then when you finish that one, watch the Lockdown, Maximum Security of the women's.
No.
Now, here's what I've been getting at, dude. All right, what the best part is that in the women's episode, they were showing like they don't have a lot of like women stuff, so they would bring like guy stuff in. There's this one dude, this like big huge black guy that was like, you know, known around like bouncing around through the different prisons, and they bring him into like this court date, you know, and he's like, hey, look, he's like, you know, I've been really good, you know, and I would just hope that you would let me out and make me a better person through like rehabilitation instead of just, you know, rotting in jail. He's like, I haven't done anything over like the last 16 years, blah, blah, blah. So then here comes the prosecutor with a stack of papers, and they're going, in 1994, Grand Theft Auto, 1995, you know, this, 1996, robbery, 1997, blah, blah, blah. They're just going on and on and on. And they get to one, and they're like, she's like, he got busted for trying to sell marijuana to an undercover woman cop. After they arrested him, he proceeded on saying, yo, girl, you thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. As she says this, the camera pans over to him, and mind you, he's still in his orange jumpsuit and handcuffed. The camera pans over to him, and he just points, like, does, like, guns. Like, points two fingers over at the lady, like, fuck yeah, I said that.
I love
like,
this guy.
It's so good, man. It's such a fun show.
I can't watch those shows. So.
What's actually, so then, like, we've been,
Get it.
huh?
Go get yourself a beer. I won't talk bad about you.
Okay, I already see out. Do you need another one?
We'll take 5.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick little pause. BRB.
What the fuck?
Okay, back from the quick break. I needed a little refresher beer, and Freddie had to work that little boy stream for a quick sec.
That's true.
Okay, so back to what I was saying was I've been watching those Netflix shows, but then my buddy Timmy and his girlfriend Lauren were like, hey, you have to check out this other show, and apparently there's multiple seasons of it out, which I didn't know, but it's called 60 Days In. Have you heard of that show?
I saw it on Netflix, but I can't watch any of these, Tony.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
I want to hear your take on it.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know what this show is, it's there's 7 people that are like just regular people that have, just lived their everyday lives that volunteer to go undercover into prison to pretending like they got arrested and they're prisoners to get, because I guess there was a bunch of corruption going on in this prison, and they want to see like what's going on, if the cops that are dealing them drugs and where they're getting them from, etc., and like all the shit that's going on. So like you have like a guy that's like a school teacher and like doesn't take anything seriously, and he's like a real piece of shit. You have like this like pudgy guy that was like bullied as a child, and he's like a security officer. You have like a guy that was like in the Air Force. He wants to become a DEA. And then you have like Muhammad Ali's daughter. She's a social worker. And what's funny is that when she's
I like her a lot. I'm a big fan of hers.
Okay, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
Now here's what's funny is that in the beginning
she was a boxer too.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah.
So well, naturally, I guess.
Yeah.
But like when.
But people didn't take her seriously. I think she was like a Olympic caliber boxer.
Really?
And now I think she's like half life coach, motivational speaker.
Yeah, and she's like a social worker and stuff like that too. So when they're like interviewing all these people, and there's like a housewife and so forth. There's 7 people, and when they're interviewing like I forget her name, Muhammad Ali's daughter.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I don't like to like name drop my dad because like I don't want people to know like I'm in his shadow.
She lived in
blah
his
blah
shadow
blah.
her whole life.
Right, but then literally every single time that she's on camera, she mentions his name. I'm like, oh my god.
I've listened to interviews with her on other podcasts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Muhammad Ali fan, and she really doesn't like bringing it up. Other people bring it up before she does, but in the show, she brings it up.
Oh yeah, like every time that she's on camera. And what's even better is that there's a clip when she's sitting like in like their general area, and they have like a TV that they can watch. They're watching the news, and they start talking about how Trump wanted to get Muslims out of the U.S. and Muhammad Ali, they bring him up and like what he was like talking about, like going against all this. He's like all that. So she's like, oh my god, like please do not show a picture of me and my dad. Like do not show a picture of me and my dad. And of course, like she's fine. They only kept it to just Muhammad, but I don't know. So anyways, I've been addicted to this fucking show because like you're actually seeing like fights and shit that's going on.
Oh no.
You're seeing like all the crazy shit that's fucking happening. Like they're fucking covering up cameras with towels and like, being the fuck. Like though when that teacher dude walked in, there's a dude that like jumps off his bed and everyone's like, oh, who's that new dude? And they like put the subtitles and the dude's like, he's got a cute booty though. It's like, I'm definitely gonna fuck that. And I'm like, oh
no.
my god, dude, like that's fucked up. But I'm addicted to these shows.
Tony,
dude.
I can't watch them. They like, I know that I've said this before. Like I'm 2 moves away from ending up in prison. Like I always feel like it's a possibility. Like just a couple wrong turns and I'm done for. And I fear even more than that I'm gonna show up on this podcast and be like, I was wrong. I was only 1 move away. Just 1 move, and this is what it was. Like that scares the hell out of me.
Oh, dude, if I ever had to go to jail, like prison, whatever, like
the recidivism rate is enough. Like now, like you're gonna go there once, you're gonna go there twice. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course,
it's
right.
so scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even watch that.
And they talk about that in there too. It's like, yeah, we have a lot of like regulars because they get out and they don't know what else to do. They can't get a real job, so they go back to like
that. It's like, well, maybe like the system that you've made is broken.
Yeah, and
nobody
it fucks
says
them
that.
up more
It's
than what
always
they
like,
originally were. Yeah, and that's the thing to think about too is that these people, they have to spend 60 days inside here. So when they could be totally normal people and they have to deal with all this like crazy shit because they have like, I think there's 4 guys and 3 girls that they had for this project. And that could break you down mentally, always like worrying about someone fighting you, raping you, have the people taking
never
your
getting
food,
a good night's sleep, never getting like a healthy meal,
like all that shit. Like, and then by the time you get out, like that could fuck with you. And I think it's because of that, like, that's what, like, really draws me in. I'm like, dude, this is a fucked up situation,
Oof.
like, you know. But
It seems like a few years ago, like, reality TV, when it took off, like, it's insufferable, like, it's unwatchable. And then, like, the prison shows became so popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, it's
people
because
love
no one
it.
really knew what was actually going on inside. So when people start getting these documentary people, like, are able to get inside and start filming shit, people are like, oh, now we have an inside scoop to see what the fuck's going on in there, you know?
Ugh.
And getting, like, actual camera footage of, like, you know, like, there's, like, one dude in there that was, like, one of the volunteers, you know, people aren't really taken into him because everyone has a backstory, and they weren't believing his backstory. They're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And so the way it's set up is, like, there's little cells, but those are already filled up for people that have been there forever. So everybody else has to basically sleep in these, like, bunk bed, like, cot things out, like, in the general area. So when you need to use the bathroom or take a shower, you have to ask somebody that's, like, in those rooms, like, hey, can I brush my teeth? Can I take a shower? Can I use your toilet? You know? And then so, like, there was, like, this one dude that was, like, helping out the one guy because he's the only person, you know? And then they show him, he's, like, sitting eating lunch, and there's one dude sitting next to him. And everyone scoops out, and the one dude just comes out and starts fucking punching him, like, right in the side of the head, and, like, just beating the shit out of him until they both get, like, yanked up. Like, that's fucked up.
It's
you know?
so fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And, like, it's not like, I don't know what it is. It freaks me out. That's my biggest fear. And I value my freedom, like what little freedoms we claim we have.
Yeah.
I value that so much that is my biggest fear. And it seems like such a lower income guy like me, like, we're made for prison, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do it. I can't show up there and be racist. I can't. You know, I'm not a small guy, but I'm not going to be able to hold my own against these people.
Right. Well, at least you have your height going for you, though.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I'm 5'7". Like, I'm a little dude. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm small. I can scrap, but, like, with dudes that are fucking fighting all the time that have been in
I sit
prison, like,
across
their whole lives.
from this table and I think about raping you all the time. I can imagine what we would be like in a jail cell together.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, and, like, you would just have to change who you are. You'd have to adapt
100%.
so much.
You
and
have
I
to.
Like, as much as I hate myself, I like who I am, like the progress of my life.
Right.
I like my freedom so much.
Oh, man, it's so great. So great.
That scares the hell out of me.
And
Even that show, Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Like, we watch it, and
Mhm.
it's, like, I enjoy it, but it's stressful to me.
Yeah.
And it's a fake show, you know?
Right. Oh, dude, don't get me wrong. Like, while I'm watching these, there's certain points that, like, it gets my heart going. I'm like, because I'm one of those people, like, when I watch movies, TV shows, even if it's a fake movie or show, I start putting myself into that position of, like, what I would be doing. Yeah, exactly. So when I'm watching shows like this, I'm like, this is real deal, dude. Like, what the fuck would I be doing in this situation, like, with my size and, like, my backgrounds compared to these people, you know? Like, it's fucked up, you know? Like, it's like, you know, if they're like, oh, hey,
How
like,
long in prison before your Aryan Nation?
dude, I don't know. I mean,
18 minutes.
it's that's what's fucked up. It's like,
I would try to hold on, like, use my humor as, like, my strength. You know
so
what
you
I
could be
mean?
like the funny man.
I would hope.
Yeah.
But how, like, in a stressful situation like that, like, I rely on humor, you know?
Right.
And I don't know, like, how far that would get me.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, so, like, I mean, you hear a lot of stories about, like, prisons are like, you have to be in some sort of squad. Like, if you're white, then you have to be, like, in the white supremacists, you know? Like, if you're
But
black.
I don't want to be around those assholes.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people like us, we don't want to be involved in
No.
that shit, you know? Because we're not those people.
Yeah.
But, like, when you're in there, you have to. Because, like, if you don't join with them, then, I mean, then, like, the black dudes and the Mexicans and Asians or whatever, they're not going to take you in because you're white. So if you don't go with them, then you're by yourself, and then you have everyone's against you. It's fucked. But, like, in this show, I mean, they have, like, their gangs and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be as, like, serious. Like, you can see there's, like, a mixed crowd of, like, people that are all getting along together, which seems to, like, you know, for people that are going to jail, at least in this prison, gives you hope, you know, that, you know, you don't have to, like, give in to being, like, a white supremacist or, I don't know, like, Latin Kings or whatever the other gangs are and what have yous, you know, like, but it's like, I don't know.
Have you had friends in jail or family in jail?
No, No. I mean, I know people that have
Yeah.
gone to prison, but no, none of my like close friends. Like
Yeah.
it's just acquaintances. You know,
I had a
like,
close friend, and like we remained pen pals during his time, and I've also had family members, and it's like as scary as like the shows make it be. You know, I don't.
Now, I did find out some information recently, and he's a new friend. And he's like the coolest dude, love him, you know, and he's been hanging out a bunch recently. But I just found out, and he's all tatted up and stuff too. But like, I just found out recently that he was in jail for a while. I think like 10 years or something like that.
That's a long time.
You know, and you know, I never asked him that. Like, that's a very personal thing to ask, you know, and like, and I'm not the person to judge or assume anything. Like, you know, I'm not that kind of person. But then as the conversation came up recently about it, but then he ended up actually telling me that he was on one of those shows.
Oh wow!
So I'm actually really excited to look the show up and watch this episode so I can like
the people
watch
that
it
I know in
and
jail,
then talk
I love
with them
so
about
much
it.
that I'm like I couldn't see that. I can't see what was going on. You know?
Yeah, and
I
so-
don't like knowing what they went through.
Right. And now here's the thing too, is that he was telling me that when these documentary people come in, he's like, a lot of it's like bullshit. I'm like, well, what do you mean?
I believe that.
Yeah, and he's like, you know, I do have a kid, but like, he was like just being born, like as all this was happening. But when they sat me down to do my interview for the show, they were like, hey, say that you have like an X amount of kids and this, and you're doing this before, or whatever, which none of it's accurate, but like they were giving him like $5,000. You know, when you're in jail and you're getting $5,000 just to be in this fucking
commissary.
Yeah, fuck
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
exactly. So like he's like, fine, whatever. Like, what I
Everybody
give
I
a
know
fuck.
that's been in jail, it's like they're just begging for money to be put in their commissary.
Right? Yeah,
That's
of
a
course.
huge deal. $5,000 in your commissary.
That's
You're the king in jail.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Prince Ali, dude, fucking Aladdin, going from rags to riches.
And I had somebody I knew that was in jail one time, and I would go. You know how you do like your weekly visits,
Oh yeah.
and I would talk to them, and it was through a video screen, and the jail was overcrowded,
Okay.
and you in your head you're like, this is somebody that you love, so you would hope for the best.
Right.
And when you would see the video screen like go from black to the picture, you were like, oh no, this is everything that I imagine as the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was overcrowded, so they had just nothing but bunks on the floor, bunks everywhere.
Right.
And this was normally where you would eat your lunch, but it's so
Yeah, it's
overcrowded.
like the general
It's so-
area. Yeah.
And then things that would affect these people that you wouldn't think of, like one of them, his face was all swollen shut, like he couldn't barely open his eyes, and it's not just from fighting, but it's also from a bug that somebody brought in there from the outside. Like they bring in bed bugs, they bring in like lice and whatever it is, or all these weird allergens and mold and stuff like that.
Right.
And they're just like trying to talk to you through this video screen, trying to like get a look at you, and it breaks your heart. It scares the hell out of you. And then you see like in the background, there's one dude. He was like lining up his jawline, like he was like this huge guy, two huge guys, and one was shaving the other one because he's getting ready for court. You know,
Right.
And it's like in the background, and it was like chaos going on besides that, and you're just trying to talk through this video screen, through this webcam, pretty
Right.
much to your loved one.
Yeah, actually, in the show that I watch, they have that like. There's a little thing you could sit down at, and then there's like the webcam. I mean, you still like pick up a phone to talk through.
Yeah. That's
But,
what
like-
we did. And the one that I used was it used to be the old school type where you pick up the phone and they're on the other side of the screen, like inches away from you. You know, not the screen, but
The
glass.
glass, right?
Right. But they took the glass out and just put a screen behind it and a curtain. So like, there's a computer screen behind the glass.
Oh, so you can at least, yeah, okay, I gotcha.
And they're sitting in like a booth pretty much probably a few hundred yards away,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like it gave me nightmares after that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they were talking like that's something that they look forward to having in their money for their commissary because like I think they said it was like $6 for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh,
like,
talking on the phone to people in jail, you'll like a 5-minute phone conversation was like $20.
Yeah.
It's incredible the amount of money, and that's where like that whole prison industrial complex and like all that.
Right.
I'm not gonna get on that bandwagon again and like start running my mouth, but there's a lot of money to be made by keeping people locked up, and it's not just from them working for cheap. It's from me and you paying, to talk to them
and
$4 a minute.
Yeah, and then that's why there's like the corrupt cops that'll, as we discussed before,
Yeah.
that they'll find a reason to keep them in there.
Yeah.
So that they can keep money just fucking dumping in that. Yeah, it's fucked
It's
up. The whole
scary.
system's fucked, man.
It's so fucked.
But I don't know. I mean, that's why I have, a fucking. I don't know. I have this addiction to these like crazy
Dude,
shows. I mean, I love shitty reality shows.
I'm not judging
Not
you.
like Kardashians and like those kind of shows. But I love like Ink Master. It's like elimination reality shows for like tattoos, and then there's Face Off. That's like the movie like special effects makeup. If you suck, you get eliminated. And there's a winner at the end.
Oh,
like,
I never heard of that. That's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, there's 12 seasons already. Like it's awesome. Like I keep up on. I call them my stories. So
I
like,
always assume that they're fake, so I'm cynical. Like that's my biggest problem. Is I'm cynical, so I always assume that they're fake. But there's like things like that are just it's too much for me. But where things get weird for me is that I can watch like ISIS beheading videos.
I can't go there.
I force myself to it.
I can't do that.
I know, it's a sickness.
It's so gross, dude.
It's a sickness.
Yeah.
Like when you see something that real, it changes you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I can watch. Horror movies are my absolute favorite. I can watch people getting their teeth pulled out with a fucking, pliers.
In real life or in
No. Like in movies, nails getting ripped out, cutting throats, stabbings, guts pouring out, all that. Done. 100%. I'm into it. It's awesome. Love it. But when it comes down to like, this is a real video where they're jabbing a fucking knife in the side of their neck and then finally like ripping through the front of it, like that shit's just like, no way. I can't stomach that shit.
Like I went through a phase of it where I was really bad, like last year or the year before, and it like affected me. It was like, oh, that's too much.
Yeah.
So I'm not judging you for what you're watching, but like I'm just saying like I can't watch that. I would rather watch this stuff. And I think like the appeal for me was that it was like something dark, and it was the darkest part of like the human experience in which you could take life from somebody in that form. And I was just I like needed to be in touch with like how bad people were. Like, and that's like what I like got out of that. It's so fucked up. And the people that love me the most in my life were like, dude, you gotta stop. And like, it's a serious thing to tell somebody like these things you're watching are affecting you. And it would just be like, I wouldn't seek them out. I would stumble upon them, and I would like, then I would go for more. But I was like, oh my God, like honor killings where the a dad did something wrong, so their daughter has to die. And then like it's like one of them that stuck with me is stoning somebody to death, where they just like the whole crowd throws stones,
Right.
And the dad has to throw the first stone, and the girl's completely innocent, but the dad fucked up. He has to throw the first stone, and she's just begging him not to, in whatever language she speaks.
Right.
Dude, it changed me. And I
Dude,
went through like a whole
fucked
thing
up.
in which I was like, I deserve to see this. I want to see the darkest side of human nature, and that's like. I got that,
dude. Yeah,
I'm only telling you that because I don't judge you for what you watch. I'm just saying, I'm so far removed from that like,
right.
I don't.
It's not enjoyable
I don't
to you.
Expect to be beheaded anytime soon, but jail seems like something that's like, yeah, it's in my near future. Maybe I don't know.
I've tried. People would send me a video like, oh, check out this beheading video or whatever. And I tried watching it, and it's like, and I'm like, I shut it off. I can't fucking. And I even remember like younger. Do you remember the website that was like rotten.com?
Oh yeah.
You know, where you'd see actual
That's probably
photos
where
and
it
videos.
started for me.
Yeah, and that's where you see actual, like, they were even showing, like, real pictures of, like, I mean, I remember seeing, like, the Chris Farley pictures of, like, him, like, laying there dead on the floor. Like,
They have all those autopsy photos.
yeah, and, like, all that shit's, like, so fucked up. And, like, and just, like, people's faces that are just completely ripped off from, like, motorcycle accidents and shit like that. Like, I was like, man, this is fucked up.
It's
like,
that
I
moment
can't.
where, like, there's still life in your body and there's no longer life in your body that, like, tripped me out the worst. Like, there was one beheading, like a complete beheading, where they cut the guy's head off, they held it up, and he's looking around for whoever's holding him up. And he's detached from his body.
Oh, dude, that's
It's
fucked
so
up.
fucked up.
That's so weird.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, dude, I can't.
It stays with you forever.
Yeah.
Or, like, the actual, like, a normal knife that you would carry, like, the amount of work that it takes to take somebody's head off with it is
and they
too
do it with, like,
real.
yeah, and they're like, they didn't do it with something that's super
No.
sharp. They just fucking.
I mean, like, this is a workout for the person doing it. You know
oh
what I mean?
my god, dude, I couldn't imagine doing something like
Yeah.
that. That's fucked up.
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like,
have you ever watched the Serbian film?
I don't know.
A
what
Serbian
that is.
film? No? Okay. And I thought, this is bad. All right, so I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but, like, and if you want to watch it since you're into these beheadings, because this is not, I mean,
I'm
it's
probably, like, 9-10 months away from, like, seeing anything.
all right, no, let me bring this to you, okay? It's a fake movie, okay? It's about this male porn star that is looking to get, he's retired and he's trying to move his family, his wife and his son, out of Serbia because shit's just getting shitty. And so, like, but they need money to get out. So this guy comes up to him and was like, hey, let's do one more hurrah for you. I'll pay you a shit ton of money. You can get your family out of here and you guys can have, like, a really awesome life. Okay. So when he starts agreeing into doing this and signing everything off, the thing is that they start, like, getting him jacked up on, like, these, like, animal tranquilizers and, like, putting him in these fucked up situations where, like, he'll go out there and, like, and then there's this chick there, and then she comes up to him and starts sucking his dick, right? And he's, like, kind of in this dark room, and then as he's getting blown, this little girl that's got to be 10 or 11 years old just, like, walks up, and she's just standing there watching the whole thing. And so he's, like, looking over and he's, like, trying to, like, cut that out of his mind, be like, oh my god, there's a little girl watching this happening, or, like, and then, or there's, like, a scene where, like, once he starts getting, like, later in the movie, like, they got him jacked up and all this shit, and he starts having sex with this chick, doggy style, and they're, like, yelling shit at him to get, like, rougher, and he's going at it, and someone comes in, and because they're shooting all this, and someone comes in and, like, hands him, like, a machete, and they're, like, they put it in his hand, and he starts, like, fucking hacking this girl's fucking head off while he's still having sex with her, like, banging her doggy style, like, and it's when you watch horror movies, you're, like, okay, you have your beginning, things start to kind of progress, and then you hit this peak point.
Yeah.
You're like, this is the worst of the movie. Then things start to calm down. Then there's, like, a happy ending, killer's dead, what have you.
Right.
This movie, oh boy. You get in there, here's your regular beginning. You start to kind of get up a little bit. This shit was crazy. This part was crazy. You're still peaking up a little bit. Then you hit this point and you're like, oh my god. Like, when I watched this for the first time with Garrison, we were watching this, and when this one scene happens, for some reason it, like, cut out and, like, went to, like, the screensaver mode, and I was like, oh my god, thank god
no.
I didn't have to fucking watch this scene. And Garrison's like, oh, he's like, no, you have to fucking see this. I was like, oh my god. I was like, you fucking rewind the scene, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the throat right now. I was like, do not fucking rewind this, dude. And then, so as the movie's progressing, you're like, okay, we're probably getting to the point where things start coming down. Oh no. It fucking peaks up more and gets higher and higher, just worse shit and worse shit. And then it calms down. Okay, you're getting down towards the end of the movie. And right when you get down towards the end of the movie, it fucking just jacks up sky high for this crazy fucking ending. And don't get me wrong, this movie itself it's a masterpiece. It's done really well. The story's fucked up. Everything, like, it has this effect on you. And but like the movie itself is just like when you watch it, it's just fucked up. It's called A Serbian Film. That's the actual name of the movie, A Serbian Film. So if you guys haven't watched
subtitles, or is it just regular?
Yeah, it's subtitles, and I have it. I'll let you borrow it.
Well, when I was a kid, I got into like those crazy Italian horror films that were just like incredibly vulgar.
What's his face?
How about that movie Vulgar? Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah, Vulgar was good with like the clown dude.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I saw that like when it first came out. And
yeah, so did
might
I.
have been like
Kevin Smith had a small bit in that.
That's all Kevin Smith's buddies. It's Brian Johnson who made it.
Yeah, that View SQ is like the name of the production
the
company.
Steve Dave guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that like shortly after high school. I think it was like 18 or 19 or so.
Up.
Yeah.
But like at least a movie, like there's a benefit of there's like that plausible deniability. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like reality is way scarier. Like the beheading stuff, like it'll change you. It'll like you won't be the same person after that.
No. I know, that's why like I don't know, dude. I'm such a like an uppity dude. Like I'm always
you're
good.
like a positive, fun.
I always
you
look
have a sweet naivety about you.
I do. I always look for like the better side of things, you know, like try to give people and friends like good advice if they're down and what have you. Is like, so I'm just not that person. Like I can't watch that fucking shit.
I'm trying not to. Like I gave that stuff up. Like you give up like a vice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you give up smoking or something like that. It was like, for me, it was like I had to see like the darkest side of human nature, and it was like super. It's not okay.
Yeah, man. I try, and I have a bunch of friends that are like,
I would never watch
them. Did you watch this video?
This is the other creepy thing about me and these videos online. Like I would never watch them with somebody else, like a reaction type video, you know?
Oh yeah.
I would just be like, it would be like in a dark place in my mind and watch them by myself.
And that's what kind of makes it more fucked up too.
It's way more fucked up.
You're just by yourself.
Because if it was you and I watching this, it's more of like a battle of who's gonna quit first.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But when it's you by yourself, nobody is here to see you do this.
Yeah.
I feel weird admitting this, but it's like, yeah, it's a creep show.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, dude, it's a fucking weird thing, man.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't live in those like in that circle.
Yeah. I can't get into that shit, man. It's not for me. Okay, so how
you got
about
any shower thoughts?
Yeah. That's where I was about to get to. Though we should bring this up a little bit now that we've just depressed everybody with these beheading videos and Serbian film. Let me take a second here. Let me find some of these that I have. Let's see. Okay, so here's one that I felt this one really reached out to me.
Okay,
so this one says, I'll watch 4 hours of a TV show before I'll watch a 2-hour movie because 2 hours seems like too much of an investment.
Yeah.
You do the same thing?
I've been there.
Yeah. I do that a lot.
I like a video is me, like if you put on a movie, right? You're saying I'm going to be lazy for the next 2 hours.
Right.
But I'd way rather watch 4 hours of
like a 45-minute show. I do that all the time.
At any minute, I can quit every 45 minutes.
Right.
And maybe do something productive.
Yeah. And I'm sure everybody that's like listening can actually relate to this because I bet there's a lot of people that do this too. I mean, even like sometimes too, like, in between episodes of things, even for 5 minutes, I'm like, hey, I want to go have a smoke. That I can go out and like have a smoke, even just a little break just for me. And so like if I want to go make a pee or whatever, but like I that's my mindset that I'm like, man, this movie's 2.5 hours long. This feels like a long time to commit to this. I mean, I'll just probably watch like an episode or two of like this show, and then I'll end up watching like 4 or 5 hours of it.
What's even weirder is that if you put on a 2-hour movie, I'm gonna fall asleep in that 2 hours. But if you play 4 hours of like a streaming show, like half-hour show at a time, I'll probably stay awake. Like just in my head, I'm
right.
like, we're buckled up for 2 hours. I might doze off for a half hour.
I know. Yeah, dude, I'm the exact same way. Let's see, I had another one in here. Every family has their own smell. I've always wondered what mine is.
Every family?
Yeah. You ever walked into someone's house, like, even when you were younger, or, I mean, nowadays, I mean, everyone's pretty much, like, with their girlfriends or buddies, like, it's different. But, like, when you actually go to someone's family's house, there's always, like, a certain scent. You ever been through that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I still remember what my grandma's house smells like. Like, I think about that all the time. My grandma's apartment, it smelled like she had an old school gas stove. So she would have to start the gas and then, like, light a match and hold it up to it.
Okay.
So, like, that natural, or not natural gas, but that gas smell.
Yeah.
And
So now, do you
incense, 'cause
smell
she
that?
was,
Does
like,
that
she was
bring you
hella
back?
Catholic, so, like, there was probably, like, incense somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the smell of, like, church candles or incense sticks
Right.
burning and, like, gas, that brings me back there, yeah.
So when you smell that, do you get, like, a rush memory, like,
oh, yeah.
back to, like, grandma's house?
I even looked for them on Etsy. I tried to buy candles that smelled like incense, like myrrh or frankincense or whatever it was that they swing around in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Because I like it so much.
That's so funny. I don't think I've ever heard anybody
But what
that
would
said
your
they enjoyed
house
that.
scent smell like?
Probably pasta and stale PBR.
Yeah. Mine's
I mean, that's my own house.
Yeah,
my
house-
parents' house. Actually, oh man, I love going to my mom's house. Like, I was there on Sunday, and just when I hit the door, I can smell the food. Like, she was making a beef stroganoff for my birthday.
God damn.
My birthday dinner,
That sounds awesome.
which was my birthday was 2 weeks ago, but I haven't seen them in like a month. But at the same time, she was in the middle of making also 2 separate pasta sauces. So she's got like a hot and like a sweet and spicy like pasta sauce, and she also does like this like a vegetable like just like, and all the vegetables are like straight from her garden. You know, so she fucking cooks everything up, dices everything up there, and puts it all like in her own sauce.
That's
you know,
awesome.
so like Ma's house always smells like just delicious food. Like
Yeah.
every time I go over there.
My parents are kind of clean freaks, so it always smells clean.
Yeah,
but
Ma is too.
My house, it's gonna be like cigarettes and dog piss. Okay. Where my scent is like cigarettes and hate. That's me.
Right.
But it is like that memory of scent is crazy. Is there any place like every time you've been like taken back to that place?
Oh, dude, I've had this discussion before. Like, it's not even just being in like someone's house, but like there's just certain smells that just hit you. You could be in a store, you could be in a restaurant, you could be anywhere, and there's one smell that hits you, and you're like, oh my god, like this brings me back to like the summer of like high school, or you know, the year that I was like, me and my best friend were doing this, or like on vacation with my family. Like, it's amazing that like a smell brings you all the way back to something. Like,
there was
that blows my mind.
There was a at the Rock Hall. There's a show right now about Rolling Stone magazine, and I saw pictures from it, and all I saw was the cover of one of the Rolling Stones that I had when I was a kid, and I smelled the advertisement inside for cologne.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, I was dumb. I pulled it apart, and I was like, what's this smell like? You know, I didn't know what it was. But as soon as I saw the picture of that Rolling Stone cover, I smelled the cologne, and I automatically remembered all the articles inside of it. Because magazines, for me, like, it's not like I bought a magazine, threw it away.
Right.
I was a poor kid, so if you finally bought the magazine with your favorite band in there or whatever, you held on to it for a little while, you know?
Of course.
And as
Yeah,
soon as
I mean,
I just saw a picture of it on a wall, and I was like, holy shit. I remember that scent. I remember everything about it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I remember, like, same way.
Yeah.
Like, saving up my money to buy, like video game magazines, or, like, Cracked magazines and shit like that. Like, I had a huge stack of Cracked magazines.
I love those.
Yeah. Like, I had the same thing. Like, I would read them over and over.
When I
like,
take my nephew to the comic book store, I always buy a Mad magazine, and it's for the same, like, I loved it when I was a kid. You know?
Right. So it's nice to, like,
Yeah.
get them involved in
But
that.
scent's a tricky thing.
Yeah.
Like there's things you won't smell forever, and you're like, "What's that from?" And then
Right.
it'll come back to you, and you'll see everything that was there.
Yeah, it reminds you right away. Yeah. Like, what's funny is that like a little while ago we were at like a what's like that it's like a thrift shop, but it's kind of higher end, like Mitchell's or begins with an M, I thought.
Is it over here in Ohio City?
No. Oh no, Mitchell's, that's an ice cream store. It begins with an M, I thought. But it's like a nice. It's not like a Goodwill, but they have like nicer clothes for like discount prices. And like I remember walking through there and going through a section, and I found Michael Jordan cologne, and I picked it up, and I was like, "Oh my god! I used to have this in like junior high, and I sprayed it, dude. And as soon as I smelled it, I can remember being back at like a dance in fucking like 7th or 8th grade. And I was like."
It's true,
dude. I haven't smelled this cologne in so long.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing. Let's see. I know I have some more in here. Okay, here's one, and this will kind of run roughly with what we talked about a few episodes back. 2016 didn't have more celebrity deaths than usual. It's just starting to be celebrities our generation cares about who dies, which I think there's some actually fact in that.
Yeah, I guess that's like that for every generation, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just that we're the most polarizing.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, you know, as we have like, you know, with Trent or not Trent Reznor,
Cornell,
Chris Cornell. You know, as we were talking about before,
Chester
like,
Bennington.
like musicians and like even like Heath Ledger and stuff like that. That was like
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman, exactly.
Yeah.
Like those were generations of the movies that we were watching growing up, music we were listening to, as opposed to our parents don't know who the fuck they are. And the younger like kids, some of them will know who, but like not a lot of them, you know, like
also with the internet and
they'll know more of Linkin Park than they would for, you know, Soundgarden.
Yeah. But with the internet, we have multiple channels of media, or multiple formats. The now you have like a whole lot more celebrities. You know, at one time when our parents were growing up, it was just celebrities from the radio, albums, and like the 8 channels that they had. You know what I mean?
True.
And then cable TV came along and brought about more celebrities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's, I know, like, when I read that, I was like, holy fuck. I mean, that actually makes, like, a lot of sense, you know? Like, I mean, of course, like, when you have, you know, older people that die of, like, natural causes, like, even, well, I'm not using this for the example, but Mr. McAllister just passed away, like, a week or so ago. And if those of you that don't know who Mr. McAllister is, that's the dad in the Home Alone movies. Yeah. That's Kevin's dad, and he just passed away just like a week or so ago, and he passed away, you know, natural causes. And the thing is, it's crazy to think about.
Weird to think about.
That him dying, like he was like 70 something, I think they said, and you know, then you have people like Betty White and shit like that are like, they're kicking, dude. Like it's nuts to think about, like how just death rolls, man, and everybody's different. Give me a second here. I know I saved one that I really liked that I thought would felt.
The other thing that I would mention about it, and it's like almost a whole other show topic, is the detriment of celebrity to the American life.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the United States, we were the first ones to have movies and all of this, you know, and then it spreads out. Then you have stuff like Bollywood now, you know.
Yeah.
It's in India, and it's bigger than Hollywood. Or the reason why our movies are so they make so much money, it's not in the United States, it's all overseas.
True.
But like we were also the first celebrity obsessed society because we just had people on a silver screen that were 50 feet tall, you know what I mean? And our monkey brains saw somebody that was 50 feet tall on a screen and thought, "Oh, they deserve praise." Like that's a totally different thing. And now it's even more like there's just more celebrities than ever. Some of them are even meritless. They don't even really have a real talent.
Like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, like they would be the first ones that you would come on. Or like most pop stars don't even write their own songs, and like their talent might be singing or dancing or whatever, but we have more celebrities now than ever. And I always think about that when it comes to like us versus the UK, in which they have like that silly caste system of kings and queens. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I look at that and laugh at it like it's bullshit. Like just because you're born, you become this person. But in all reality, that saves them from having like a meritless person like a Kardashian sneak in as their celebrity, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So there might be something to be said for that.
That's very true. I'm trying to find. I know there was one that really stuck out to me that I thought was going to be really funny on your end. I'm trying to think of where the fuck I put it. I should have wrote this one down. I do have another one though. In the meantime, let's see. Oh, okay. So actually, this one kind of goes in line when we were just talking about all that prison stuff. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Despite having zero desire to ever kill anyone, I spend half the time watching true crime shows thinking about how I do it better. I'm a total backseat murderer.
Dude.
Do you do that?
Like an armchair murderer
Yeah.
instead of an armchair quarterback?
Do you ever do that? You're like, man, this guy fucked up, man. He should have did this.
No.
And he should have did this instead of doing what he did. He could have got away with it.
But my girlfriend loves these shows, and I'm actively telling you how ridiculous you are for these prison shows. These murder shows like Dateline and stuff like that, I'm not okay with either. I watch a lot of them just because they're on, but they're crazy. So, are you into these at all? Have you seen any of these?
What, like the true crime shows?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, I love them.
Do you actively like figure out what they did wrong or what they did right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like
that's when I saw that I was like, oh my god, I totally do that.
Like when it comes to odds, like your odds of getting away with something, like I know like they drastically improve if it's a stranger, right?
Right.
If you just kill a random stranger, they're not gonna catch you.
Yeah, when you don't actually have like a motive for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm like watching it and they're like, oh yeah, we have video footage of him going into Home Depot and he bought a shovel, black garbage bags, rope, a saw, and I'm just like, why would you buy all those things in the same fucking store, you idiot?
Now, if you watch any of the mob shows where the mob got away with stuff, the mob always acted alone in the middle of the day in a populated area. Like, that's what they did.
Right.
And they got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because they're the mob and people are afraid of them. That's part of it. But it's also because they just like acted quick in the middle of the day, and it was such chaos that people couldn't. There was really nobody that could really hit the nail on the head on who did what.
There was do it, get out, and be done with it. Yeah.
So you watch these shows and you're like, this is where you fucked up. I know exactly where you fucked up.
Yeah, I do. I'm a backseat murderer.
Yeah. I guess we all are.
Yeah, dude.
But that's just because we know, like, one, you have to kill somebody that you don't know. Two, like, what would your mode of murdering somebody be? Now, I asked this to my girlfriend, and she's seen a lot of these shows. She really enjoys them, right?
Dude, I can only imagine the response she would have. Like, I can hear her voice in my head saying something. Go on.
Okay.
Like, I can't picture, like, what her actual answer would be.
She's seen a lot of these shows. She's very educated.
I can picture her, like us sitting together, you asking her this question.
Yeah.
And then I can see her getting excited and actually answering it right away.
It wasn't like, how would you murder me? I said, when you do murder me, how's it going to be? And she calmly said, she thought about it for a minute, right? So she took a beat. She said, insulin. Nobody gets insulin. And if they do, it's like 20 years later.
Interesting. Man, that's never crossed my mind.
So then she hit the question back at me. And I said, oh, claw hammer. Absolutely.
Just straight to the point.
A 100% claw hammer.
Don't want to beat around the bush, just straight to the point.
And there'll be a video of me picking out a good one at Home Depot, like taking practice swings.
Yeah. Like, this one's not heavy. This doesn't have enough weight to it.
Yeah.
The claw's not sharp enough.
What would your mode be? And I know the number one answer is if you could do it somewhere near like a saltwater body, you can dump the body in there. You're doing better already.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the perfect weapon is during the winter or whatever, just having like an icicle. Like a sharp ass
thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's great because like you could just literally just shove it right through their eye up into their
you're
brain.
Standing on the roof and you throw it down on them.
Yeah, I mean if you can do it that way, which I don't think your odds are very well off of doing that. But even if you jump on them and you're just shoving a fucking sharp ass icicle right through their eyeball up into their brain, and if you have a couple of them on hands, but then the ice it melts.
Yeah.
You bury it somewhere in the snow, and then when all that, as the days start to get warmer, and then all that, if the blood that's on there is going to just melt right down into the grass, the icicle melts, there's no weapon,
So you think the coroner will be like, it was a magic arrow.
Yeah. It's from Nightwolf's arrow from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's, I guess that's it.
Yeah. That would,
it seems like cameras and forensics and everything, like it
would be so hard to get away with. I love watching this stuff, and like I said, I love horror stuff. But I honestly, like, as we were talking with these beheading videos, I just don't think I could ever pull myself. Like, it would really have to be something really bad, like somebody raping and murdering my 15-year-old sister.
Yeah.
Like, that could really...
I can't believe you would kill me.
Don't say that. Because I will. I don't care how handsome or shirtful you are.
Well, like that, like we have a debate about handguns all the time. Like not just handguns, all guns. And in my house, my only guns are just like family heirloom type things, and like no shit. But I drink way too much and live a ridiculous life for there to be a gun around. You know what I mean? And like all these people that say that they're protecting themselves, it seems ridiculous to me. Are you? How do you feel about that? Because you're a fun, smart guy. Like you live in a world of your own in a lot of ways. Like, do guns intrigue you at all?
No, I don't really care for them. I've shot a handful off.
Yeah.
I've gone to like the gun range.
Me
I've only
too.
done it once. So like guns are, they're both good and bad as far as I'm concerned.
They scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, and that's something like when people like if I'm at someone's house and they pull out a gun, like I've been at friends' houses like, and they like pull out this like huge fucking
me too.
gun,
and it's like
then I get uncomfortable because like just from all the stories you hear from when you're growing up of people like someone's brother getting shot in the face because like they were playing around with their dad's gun. And look, there was a guy that worked for us earlier this year. And when he came in, my boss called and said, hey, I have a guy that's coming in. Get him, sign up his paperwork, and then go take him over to or maybe it was his last year. So go take him over to like our main like mowing dude and let him train him. So the guy comes in the office. And as he comes in, I was like, oh, I'm Tony. Nice to meet you. As I'm raising my hand, I see that he's missing an arm. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I like immediately like switched hands, so I sat him in there. I let him sign like the application and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then so.
You didn't shake his stump awkwardly?
Well, no, his stub is like.
Oh.
Maybe 3 or 4 inches from the shoulder. Like it's. Let me see. No, maybe it wasn't that low or that high up. It was actually probably maybe down about the elbow. Now that I'm thinking it a little bit better, and I only say this because when he was working, and we run one-man crews, so when he's out there like weed whacking, like he's got it resting on his like stump, and he's using, and he's able to do everything. And he did great fucking work.
Good for you.
But what's funny is that, like, when I got him in there, I was like, all right, I'm going to take you over to, like, our main mowing dude. And then as I get over there and I bring him over, and I was like, hey, Josh, this is so-and-so. I think his name was John, and I'm like, hey, this is, so-and-so. And I remember him looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, how is this dude going to be out on his own mowing lawns? Weed whacking, edging,
with a zero-turn
mower. And the blowers, the handles are with your right hand. And he was missing his right hand, like his right arm.
Yeah.
So he had to start it and then put it on. And then he's got to hold it awkwardly with his left hand to blow everything off. I mean, he did great work, but it's just like, and so reason I'm talking about this is because when he was younger,
Yeah.
him and his brother found his dad's shotgun or whatever, and his brother accidentally hit the trigger and blew his fucking arm off.
Dude, when I was a kid, I found my dad's guns, and it was like the coolest shit in the world. You know what I mean? Like, and looking back on that, how scary it was. Like, I was advised not to by my
Right, of
parents,
course.
of course. But and my dad didn't keep like the ammunition around. But it's fucking frightening.
Oh yeah.
Like, I thought it was the neatest thing in the world. But so I just went on this put and bait trip, right? And a friend of mine is in my car. We're halfway to Sandusky, and we see a state trooper on the side, and he's like, "Oh, just to let you know, I have my handgun in the car." And I'm like,
Dude.
it like, I try to be like the cool guy who's not like the sissy liberal that I know that I really am,
Right.
and like try to like swallow it down. But I'm like, it's gonna be nothing but drinking. Like, this whole island is made just for like a party atmosphere of drinking and debauchery, right?
Mm-hmm.
You bring a handgun for this, like.
That's the most ridiculous thing that
Yeah,
you should be having.
and like the guys that have like such strong opinions on it, I just don't understand. Like, I think it's a masculine thing. Like, people want to like protect themselves and their property and
Right,
stuff
of
like
course.
that. And
Yeah.
it's like, what do you have that's so special that you're worried about people stealing from you?
nothing.
And what
But
do you
it's just
have
the
in
fear
your
of
house?
being robbed.
Like, imagine like people like, I'll give you 3 carries out of my house, right? Just take 3 armloads of bullshit. It's still not worth me killing you over.
Right.
I would just be like really bummed. I'd be bummed, and I'd be over it in probably like 3 weeks.
Right.
There's nothing you could steal from me that I would want to kill you over.
Yeah.
And anybody desperate enough to like steal from you is in a harder spot than you are. So cut them some slack.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I
the
mean?
thing is too, it's not necessarily always like, I mean, there's obviously like, single males and females that are that way, but there's also people that are protecting their family, protecting, guy protecting his wife and a young child.
Right.
Because, if someone was to come in and then, then your kid could be old enough to understand what's going on, and that could fuck them up.
Yeah.
And then your wife's
dude,
also
we
going to
lived
be
in the
worried
ghetto
of
when
fear.
I grew up, and I remember my dad loading the shotgun in the hallway and just being afraid, or my dad pushing ladders away from the house as they were climbing into our second story.
Oh, really?
When we first moved into our house, we're probably going long, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a long
Do you
one.
want me to? We'll just give people. Hey, we missed a week.
Yeah,
Are
so
you
we're
okay
just
with
making
it?
up. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, when you're done with the story, then
When
we can go
moved
ahead
in-
and cut in
And
everything out.
I lived on the south side of Illyria, and it's kind of rough. And when we first moved in, people noticed that, and there's a lot of drug activity. It's also like the main channel between the ghettos and the downtown, which was thriving at the time. So drunks would come stumbling past our house,
Right.
When you move in, kind of word gets around that you have all your stuff in boxes, so it's easy to steal everything.
Right, just lift the fucking box down.
So one time they broke into my house. My dad was cooking out, and a guy snuck in our basement, hid in our basement, and my dad left to go run up to the corner store, probably buy a pack of smokes or something, and he knocked on the back door. My mom went to answer the back door, and she like went down there, opened the curtain to the back door, and the guy threw her down the stairs, beat her up, broke her jaw.
Oh, fuck.
A couple other guys came in, and I was still there, and they just stole everything. And so I've lived through like multiple break-ins. My dad loading a shotgun. My dad spent the night on the side of the house with a shotgun, and I'm still not like a gun advocate.
Yeah.
Like I've gone with my parents at like 4 years old, holding their hand, like seeing their record player all smashed up, and at the police station where they like finally got the stuff back.
Right.
And I'm still not like, nothing in that house was worth them stealing.
Right.
Even my mom's jaw was not worth shooting them over.
Right.
Like, they're hard up for money.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's fucked up that just like, I don't know, just when people, I mean, I get it. I mean, if you're a criminal your entire life and you can't have like a regular job because
Yeah.
you just won't commit yourself to it, so your employer's like, this guy's a piece of shit, and they fire you because you're rather getting high or getting drunk and then showing up at work late or not coming in at all. You're calling off because you're hungover or whatever. So your employer's like, well, then you're fired. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know? So then you have to reach into be like, well, I can't have a real job. So
Or, like, they're just people that, like, the luck of the draw brought them to where they are. But those are also people, like, you don't know what they went through, what brought them to this point in their life.
no, and I get it. I mean, there's people that that grow up in the hood because their family's poor and that's all you have. I mean, essentially, that's kind of what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, it's just you either choose on to either like you give in to having to be part of a gang, otherwise you get the shit kicked out of you, you know, all the time, or picked on, or you know, like it's. I mean, I get it because then you just basically you're peer pressured to like, well, you're in our gang. And now we're going to go rob this place. You have to come with us or we're going to kick the fuck out of you, you know, or kill you. And then next thing you know, then you get caught, then you're serving time, and your whole life's fucking ruined when you didn't want to be there in the first place.
When you get out, you owe court fines. Maybe you owe child support. Maybe you owe anything else. Like, you got to come up with money quick. You don't want to go back into jail.
Exactly.
So where do you go for quick money?
Yeah.
It's not filling out applications.
I know.
But so I feel for those
and
people too. And like I just wish they would knock on the door and be like, I'm in a hard spot, you know? But now here's another anecdote. Well, you got me going. It's your fault.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Here's another anecdote. So I work with this dude in LaGrange, and that's Redneck Central, right?
Right.
And I'm not that. And I'm also not the guy that's like gonna adapt easy and get along with people. I'm fairly abrasive. There's a guy that, like, he talks about walking the metro parks, and that's why he's carrying his gun. And he's trying to get me to sign up for this conceal and carry thing so that they have enough people. And I'm like, fucking conceal and carry? No, I'm not even going to own one, let alone carry one around like a goddamn cowboy.
Right.
And I start listening to him. I was like, why do you need that? And he's like a 55-year-old man. He likes to walk around in the metro park with his 55-year-old wife, and he doesn't feel safe doing it. I'm like, I've been to the metro parks.
Oh, yeah.
There's, like, teenage girls running with their headphones in and a sports bra.
Right.
And they don't have a gun. And I told him, I was like, that chick's got way bigger balls than you. She's not afraid to run through the metro parks without a gun. And you do? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, and then the inevitable, like, I've heard so many guys say this. The inevitable, like, apocalypse, they're coming for us.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And my answer to that is like, you're the first person they want to kill because you have a whole bunch of guns.
Yeah.
So they kill you, they get a whole bunch of guns.
Right.
I know how this works.
That's actually a really good
and
point. I didn't
the
think of
other
that.
thing is, on top of that, like, who wants to live through that? In all reality, do you really want to live through that?
No, but
like, hold on as long as you can at best.
Yeah, I mean,
you might be the kind of guy that's like, I'm gonna hold out as long as I can and try to make it. I'm the kind of guy that's like,
self-destruct sequence has been initiated.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just kidding, guys. It's not actually going to explode. I do want to apologize, though, for the sudden cutoff. Freddie and I weren't paying attention to the device, and I forgot to change the batteries before we got started. So that's my bad. So we will continue that conversation next week. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page and like and the page, so that way you can get notifications when we upload new videos. You can check out our YouTube page as well, Sweet Nothings Podcast with Tony and Freddie. You can email us at sweetnothingscleveland@gmail.com. And also tune in next week to hear about the story when Freddie learned piccolo lessons from a hobo. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.